is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
I'm not a big fan of his brain.
Well, let's get back to it.
The Northern Lights will make a rare showing in parts of the UK this weekend, appearing alongside the biggest meteor shower of the year.
Groovy.
2 massive plumes of plasma erupting from the sun, known as coronal mass ejections, will collide with the Earth's atmosphere tonight, bringing auroras to southerly latitudes, space weather forecasters have announced. OK, couple of things. Massive plumes of plasma. I got mixed up because I thought that sound I've labelled as squirt, and so I was going to say massive plumes of squirt, but that's not right. Plasma. Well, let's just call it squirt for short. I know it's not shorter, but just go with me. And I know I said a couple of things. Second thing is space weather forecasters. Is that a job title? I want that job title. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a space weather forecaster. Can you imagine? The UK Met Office and the US National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, as it's called, have predicted that the peak of the aurora borealis displays will come tonight. Peak geometric activity is expected during daylight hours, but some residual overnight activity may result in a slight enhancement of the auroral oval during the night of the 10th and into the 11th. I have no idea what that means. The Northern Lights will be visible across Scotland land and could stretch further south, depending. But in even better news, the celestial spectacle will coincide with the peak of the Perseid meteor shower, which will see up to 100 shooting stars flash across the sky every hour on Sunday night.
Yowza.
You believe that? Skies are expected to be clear over most of the UK on Sunday night, according to the latest forecast from the Met Office. That is Earth weather forecasters. The best place to view the meteors and the auroras is in areas of low light pollution, with NASA urging anyone keen on seeing them to leave urban areas. Leave urban areas where bins are on fire and police cars have been flipped over and set alight, and get to somewhere dark. I think the inside of Nigel Farage's head is pretty dark, but you won't see any aurora borealis from that roaring borealis. Meanwhile, the UK will experience a short period of strong summer sunshine over the next couple of days. Temperatures expected to reach into the high 20s, causing people to say things like, gosh, it's hot. By Sunday morning, temperatures are expected to climb into the mid to high 20s centigrade, and in His Majesty's Fahrenheit, that is 87 degrees forecast for London, which really is hot. But it will feel hotter, because you add in the humidity, and it will feel like 99 degrees, which is also known as too hot. It's not the actual degree that is the difficulty, it's how it feels. So we're all about feelings now, baby. The Met Office forecaster Dan said much of the country is going to have a bright day. There'll be a few isolated showers across the extreme north and west of Scotland, but some decent amounts of strong summer sunshine for many of us. And it's all thanks to a continental heat plume, apparently. The heat will be blowing over from the continent in a plume. We will, in fact, be breathing second-hand European air that's been inside French people.
Disgusting.
Patriotic Brits might want to hold their breath till Tuesday, when it will go back to normal. Listeners in Glasgow, of course, will get their own weather.
Correct.
Texts and emails and such from last night. Joanna says the best ever team sport at the Olympics is bobsleigh. No. Alfie says, the suffragettes used bombs and set fire to buildings. Do you believe that those women were terrorists, or were they justified and should still be proclaimed as heroes after putting innocent lives at risk? Says Alfie, who wants brown people to go back to where they came from and women to get back in the kitchen. Tony says, talking about sports that shouldn't be in the Olympics, what about equestrian? It's basically a sport for rich people, same as rowing and pro cycling. I mean, when was the last time you saw a horse in Central Africa? I've seen a stripy one on the David Attenborough show, black and white ones. but I suppose they're not horses. What's Central Africa got to do with it? And Paul says, I just wonder how much these racist rioters have been raving about the mega medal haul of the Olympic GB and NI team, a large proportion of which were contributed by black, brown and mixed race athletes. Yeah, they get a pass. And the England football team, they all get a pass as well. Everybody gets a pass apart from the people that you are, particularly angry about. Apart from the people you don't know. It's fear of the unknown. Unless they miss a penalty, of course, in which case no! they'll never forget it. Randall says, what's this all about? I saw two girls on my French television while watching the Olympic Games who were dancing on their heads. I thought it was a sketch. Well, they were dancing on each other's heads. Well, if that was the case, then it was taekwondo. If they were dancing on their heads, it was probably break dancing or some such. I still haven't seen that, but I believe that there was an incident. So many incidents, it's hard to keep up with. How many of these have I got? Loads. They're already coming in from today. These are from last night. Billy says, why don't these people understand that our economy relies on immigration? Without immigrants, our GDP will drop significantly. Brexit has already proved this. They say they're not racist, but during their rampage, will they differentiate between illegal immigrants and everybody else who isn't white? No, of course not. That's what always got me about Sweller and Priti Patel wanting to march people who aren't, who come over here onto a plane and out to Rwanda. And I was saying this at the time, and it just blew my mind. Suella Braverman, do you really think that if you were ushering people, if you were standing at the bottom of the steps, surrounded by patriotic Brits with, the England flag tattooed on their forehead, who were cheering along as a lot of brown people were climbing the steps onto the plane to get sent to Rwanda, do you really think that the crowd is going to take a look at Suella Braverman and stop at her or usher her onto the plane as well? But, that is ancient history. Fortunately.
Thank you.
We don't have to listen to those people anymore. But they haven't stopped talking, have they, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I think a period of silence is in order. Well, let's start with 5 years and see how we go. God, there's some exquisite details. One moment, please. There's the bloke and the bus driver. Here we go. A racist thug spat at a bus driver and called him a Muslim terrorist bleep-ard after he was refused to board because he couldn't pay for his journey. Michael Mongan, 39.
What?
Yeah, 39 years old, which is also known as plenty old enough to know better. Michael Mongan, 39, was caught on camera shouting at the driver and punching the protective screen around his seat at 12:25 on Wednesday in West London. That is very, very precise timing. And we know the time because he was being filmed while he was doing it. The video, which has been viewed more than 5 million times on social media, 5 million, shows Mongan spitting twice on the screen and repeatedly calling the driver a Muslim terrorist bleep-ard and challenging him to get off the bus. 5 million people have seen this moron embarrass himself in public. He might as well have dropped his trousers and quacked like a duck and it wouldn't have been more embarrassing. Mongan was quickly identified because he did this in the middle of the day on a bus full of passengers, each of whom had a camera on their phones, which he might have thought about before unburdening himself like that, but thinking does not appear to be among his strong points. He pleaded guilty to both charges at Uxbridge Magistrates Court on Saturday. Uxbridge, that's where you used to represent the good people of Uxbridge there, didn't you, Bodge? Yeah. Can you remember? You ever go there? Uxbridge Magistrate Court, if you please. He will remain in custody until he's sentenced on Tuesday. Sentenced. The video begins with a pay dispute between Morgan and the driver, already in full swing at Cold Harbour Lane in the Hayes area of London. Mongan, of Ealing, is seen ferociously calling the driver names, punching the protective screen around the driver and spitting at him. Remember, this is because the bloke couldn't pay the bus fare. Or maybe it's that he wouldn't pay the bus fare. Because, fact fans, he was wearing a Boss polo shirt. Not the cheapest item of clothing he could have selected, and worth considerably more than a bus fare, I'd wager, which in London is £1.75. And just on this one occasion, an occasion never to be repeated, I have done homework. Can you believe that?
No.
I looked up how much a Boss polo shirt costs. Have a guess. Go on, I double dare you. The price for one dégradé jacquard polo shirt with a contrast logo, £129.
What?
Yeah, 129 quid. So a bloke with a £129 shirt on went racist ballistic at a Muslim bus driver because he didn't have the fare. And he did it on camera. And he's 39 years old, not 9 years old. And I'm going to guess that he's been a drain on our society. And he hasn't given back as much as the bus driver, for instance. I don't know whether that's true. I'm just assuming. And if it is true, and this country is full, as we hear so many times, then is there a way we can keep the bus driver and export the spitter? Just asking. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC.
So your accountant does your audit for you, looks at your accounts, calculates your tax, stuff like that. But do they look at your business model and give you long-term advice to help your business grow? And most importantly, are they looking after you, the owner? At Barnes Rofe, our partners get to know their clients and want to become part of their team. Is it time to see what we can do for you? Get in touch with us at barnesrofe.com to arrange your free consultation. Barnes Rofe, clever accountants for business.
Next up, which markets might be affected by the election results?
Hi, this is Peter, an investor on eToro. I feel that housing and energy stocks could benefit.
Interesting, Peter. Let's hear another opinion.
Alice here, also on eToro. I think results are so predictable that most market reactions will be priced in.
Sounds lively on eToro. So download the eToro app and join the conversation there.
Not investment advice. The value of your investments may go up or down. Your capital is at risk.
Oh no! Someone is stealing the smiles from Happy Meal. Join the mission to get them back with the minions from Despicable Me 4. Only in cinemas. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until the 27th of August, from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy, while stocks last.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Some nobody.
0345 6060 973. Graham says, so you approve... These are texts and tweets from last night in relation to the things we were talking about yesterday. Graham says, so you approve of British people emigrating to Spain and only eating egg and chips and refusing to learn the language. I think I have heard you criticise this before. I don't know what you're talking about, Graham. I mentioned that scenario in response to the constant, these people are coming over here and they're not integrating thing. People tend not to integrate. They don't leave their culture behind when they go abroad. And we are preeminent in that. We go and occupy vast amounts of Spain and south of France. We shop in the English store, and we drink in ye olde English pub, and we eat egg and chips in the English cafe while speaking English. It's as though we build a big, beautiful wall around ourselves wherever we go. It's the same with everybody. Ray says, I'm English living in Spain, and the country's... Shall I start that again? Ray says, I'm English, I live in Spain, in the countryside. There's no fish and chip shops, nothing like that. I speak Spanish with the locals, says Ray. Just boasting. Of course, there's no evidence that any of that is true. He could be making it up. I am going to go ahead and assume that none of that is correct.
Liar!
John says, Armando Iannucci is a fantastic writer. Just think that actual politics over the last few years completely broke even trying to satire it anymore. Does that make sense?
No.
I don't know what it's in relation to. I don't think I've ever mentioned Armando Iannucci on this programme to say that he's a fantastic writer or not. I don't think I've ever seen anything he's done. I mean, it's not a criticism in any way. It's just, you can't watch everything. So I don't know where you're coming from there, John. But being confusing, it fits right in on this show. Philip says, the reason modern woke comedies ain't funny is because the woke liberal lefties that write them have no sense of humour. Says Philip. I'll sum that argument up for you. You're an idiot, Philip. I mean that in the nicest possible way. Woke. Anybody uses the term woke as an insult, just smile sweetly at them while backing slowly out of the room. No sudden moves. You don't want to upset them or set them off. Just make a mental note never to talk to them again. Paul says, with the football starting again this weekend, the rioting morons will now be flocking back to their tribes, moaning about VAR and hating each other again. Again? I don't think they ever stopped, did they? Yeah, I guess they'll have something else to complain about, yeah. Just two more from last night. I can't believe I've got through them already. Cheryl says, breakdance was horrendous. That should not be in the Olympics. Tennis was the best sport of the Olympics. It would be dull without it. Love, love, love it, says Cheryl. No, Cheryl, and furthermore...
No.
Tennis has no business being at the Olympics. We get plenty of tennis outside of the Olympics. I mean, Wimbledon is only just over, and the exact same people were contesting the same blooming sport in the Olympics. Has no place in the Olympics, tennis. Not now, not ever, never. What are the ones that they're introducing next time around? It's probably like poker and chess, isn't it? Queuing for the bus as an Olympic sport, something like that. I think they're ridiculous. But they do that in order to, gain publicity. In much the same way as the American TV networks sent Snoopy Dog over to, just gurn about and be amusing in order to get publicity for the Olympics, as though the greatest show on earth would need more publicity. But, there's always people who shun it, who say that they're not interested, it just staggers me that people say they're not interested in the Olympics. It's an example of the extent to which the human body can move through the air. How can you not be interested in the epitome of human physicality? Running and jumping and swinging around like monkeys we are. I just don't get people's disinterest. I don't. I'll watch pretty much anything that's got the Olympic rings appended to it. And finally, from last night, Helen says, I honestly thought my daughter was joking when she told me that breakdancing was in the Olympics. Whatever next? Well, here's the thing, Helen. You try breakdancing. It's not easy. Very, very difficult. I mean, it takes a certain, fitness to be able to do that. Fitness and I don't really know. I haven't seen it. But, you are interpreting the music, all that sort of stuff, with a smile on your face. So there is something to it. I just don't know whether it should be an Olympic sport. But then I would have said that about skateboarding until I saw skateboarding. And, I decried skateboarding. I have done my whole life, because all the skateboarding I ever see is the kids in that gloomy, cave-like structure on the South Bank of London. And they always look way too old to be doing it, and ill as well. I mean, they've never seen the sun. I'm so white, I'm bluey white. I'm practically see-through. But those people look like they died 3 years ago. I mean, they all look as though they need to get rushed to A&E immediately. And they're all terrible at it. All of the tricks that they try to do, which are pretty unimpressive, are they fail every single time. They're just absolutely rubbish at it. Why they keep doing it, I don't know. And so I'd never seen it in the way that because there's two disciplines, if we can call it that. If we can call people who look like they're stoners 24 hours a day disciplined in any way, shape or form. But there's two disciplines to skateboarding. One is called street, which is a little bit dull. Boring. And that's what the people in the South Bank do. And the other's called park, where they hit massive air and spin around and stuff. It's kind of like the tube in the Winter Olympics. It's the snowboard tube thing that the Flying Tomato was very good at. Anybody have any idea what I'm talking about?
No.
I bet there's one or two people who have a clue as to what I'm saying. But just one or two. Oh, here we go. Here's the information about the sports that are coming up. Isn't it exciting? Baseball or softball?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I mean, it could only get worse if cricket was going to be an Olympic sport. In other news, cricket's going to be an Olympic sport.
What?
Yes. Baseball and cricket. What's T20 mean?
That means the number of ovals each team have to bowl and bat against. So 20 overs each.
Right. I've got no idea what you just said. Flag football. What's that?
Expert lines manning.
What?
I don't know.
He doesn't know. All right. Squash. Huh. I'm kind of surprised that squash isn't already a part of the Olympics. Isn't squash already a part of the Olympics? One of those ball sports that I just cross off my list of interest when I look at what's upcoming. I would have bet money that squash was part of the Olympics. Maybe it used to be and they threw it out. Well, they're throwing it back in again. These are additional sports on the programme for the Olympic Games in Los Angeles in 2028. Well, I can't wait. How about you? Lacrosse. I missed out lacrosse. What's that?
That is...
It's like hockey.
Jolly hockey sticks, but in the air.
No, that's Quidditch.
That's really in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
And not real.
And it's not real. Okay, they've got to be real. Oh, you should have said. Look at that switchboard. Is anybody remotely interested in anything I am saying?
No.
No, good grief. 0345. Well, they are, because I've got all these texts to get through. But, that's the problem. These days, kids just don't want to speak on the phone. And when I say kids, I mean anybody under the age of 50. So they're totally unused to talking to anybody face-to-face or on the phone. And we're going to become, pretty soon, I think the human race, that our mouths are going to just seal shut because we won't need them anymore for speaking. And we'll just have to insert food in a different way.
Disgusting.
Can you imagine? So keep using your mouth for communicating, kids, because you'll miss it when it's gone. I mean, it would... We'd have to invent all new table manners for restaurant eating if our mouths sealed over. Don't think about that for too long. Lorraine says, I've learned 3 new words this week and I thought you might like them. Stochastic terrorism. Yeah, I've been reading that a lot. Stochastic terrorism. Yeah, you want to look that one up. Corey Bantic. What's that? Any idea?
No,
we still don't know. We know what we do know, but we don't know what we don't know. It's the unknown unknowns. And solipsistic, a selfish or lack of self-awareness. I think people stopping dead at the bottom of an escalator is solipsistic, says Lorraine. People stopping dead at the bottom of an escalator. Well, that's less selfish. There is a lack of self-awareness there, but I think terror has got something to do with it. Because if you are presented with that for the very first time, an escalator, it does look like something that would swallow your feet, doesn't it? I mean, it's got teeth for a start. It looks absolutely terrifying to a first-timer. And you can tell that when you see a dog trying to negotiate it. They just will not stand on an escalator and freak out when the end of it starts coming towards them. So owners have to pick them up, no matter how big they are. God, I saw some monster dogs on the pavement coming here. I actually rolled up my window. It's like 75 degrees out, and I rolled up my window because I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it outside the zoo. It was an absolute horror show. Massive. Why would anybody be so stupid as to buy one of those? I mean, you might as well just drag a bomb around on a piece of string, because eventually it's going to go off and there's absolutely nothing that the owner will be able to do to stop it. What's wrong with people? That should be the topic on this programme from now until the end of time. What is wrong with people?
We are thick, we are stupid.
Yes, in many cases, Nige, you are completely right. Tip says, here's your script for tonight in case you need reminding. Social media, right-wing morons, Nigel Farage, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Daily Mail and brainless Brexiteers. And your soundbites, of course, says Tip. Then she says, no. I'm just making a mental note of all of those things. Got to get round to them all eventually. And Ash says, you do really good impressions of Trump and a typical British yob. Would you consider doing one of His Majesty the King? Well, I do every now and again. I'm not sure whether it's very accurate or not, but people know what I'm doing, so that's all you really need. If they know what you're doing, then, all you got to do is add a little bit of material, that's all. It's as simple as that. Literally anybody could do it. Ben says, can we have a shout out to all the combine harvester drivers listening to you in their cabs right now, please? Keep up the good work. Yes. Well, having watched the Jeremy Clarkson farm thing, I have a newfound respect for farming people. And I suppose around about now they're all in their combine harvesters because the thing that they're harvesting has got to be an absolutely perfect moisture, at a perfect moisture level, and it won't wait. If the moisture level says, do me now, then they've got to do them now. Yes, if you haven't seen that programme yet, it's a real eye-opener, and it's very, very funny. And I felt somewhat aggrieved when it ended, because on one of those sort of fly-on-the-wall things, you get to feel that almost you know them, that they're actually part of your, if not family, then your friend group. And I want to know what happened next. I feel as though he owes me. If only he would just, install some cameras around his house and, around the farm and outside the pub. I could keep my beady eye on him all the time. What do you say, Jezza? I assume that the answer is no. 03, how about for £100 million? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. 10:30, the news headlines with Tim Daly.
Israel is saying it launched an airstrike on a school in Gaza because it was being used as a command centre by Hamas. The UK's Foreign Secretary David Lammy has issued a statement saying he's appalled by the news that around 80 people have died. The Justice Secretary is warning the impact of the summer's disorder across England and Northern Ireland will be felt for months and years to come. Shabana Mahmood says the riots will delay the government's efforts to enhance the justice system. And up to 500 mourners have been attending a funeral service for the Lancashire teenager who died on holiday in Tenerife. 19-year-old Jay Slater has been remembered by family and friends in Accrington. LBC weather, cloud lingering in the southwest with fog patches overnight, but otherwise dry and clear across the country. Lows ranging from 19 degrees in the south to 9 degrees in the north.
This is LBC.
You're looking good, you're looking sharp.
Righty here. I'm just giving the new Gillette Labs razor a go, and it's smooth. 5 long-lasting blades, and it's got a flex disc that adapts to my gorgeous face. Done in no time, then it goes back on its magnetic stand for a finish almost as good as one of mine. And if you don't agree it's the ultimate shave, get your money back. 18 plus, retain receipt, terms and conditions apply.
imagine if you could get the most out of your pre-festival vibes playlist and your can't believe it's over playlist? No need to imagine. The new Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 uses Galaxy AI to automatically adjust sound levels depending on what you're listening to. This one really gets me.
Galaxy AI is here. Buy the new Galaxy Buds 3 today. Require smartphone or tablet operating on Android 10 or above.
Hey, you with the hands at 10 and 2. Ever felt that nudge that your motor might need a little TLC? When it's time to go under the hood, eBay's got you covered. From mirrors to headlights, find all the right parts by entering your reg. And if it doesn't fit, eBay Assured Fit means you can return it for free. That's our money-back pledge. Find the right part at the right price with eBay Assured Fit. Exclusions apply. See ebay.co.uk for more details.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
Amusingly, thousands of people gathered at anti-racist rallies being held across the country for a national day of protest. The campaign group Stand Up to Racism organised 22 Stop the Far Right demonstrations today, which took place in towns and cities, including but not limited to London, Newcastle, Manchester and Birmingham, wherever that is. And no one set fire to a hotel or robbed a Greggs or nicked a phone or got a brick to the plums thrown by some moron from their own side. In the capital, thousands of anti-racist protesters assembled outside Reform UK's London office to accuse Nigel Farage of inciting fascist rioters.
Nigel Farage is not fit and proper to be in government.
Here comes as Tory councillor's wife, Lucy Connolly, was refused bail and will appear at Northampton Crown Court on Monday after she was charged with publishing written material to stir up racial hatred. She is accused of doing all sorts of things. I won't go into it. So far, 779 people have been arrested for offences ranging from violent disorder to theft over the far-right violence, some of whom some 349 have now been charged. Not having so much fun now, are they? That's right. Anti-racist protesters gathered in their thousands to protest against hate marches and riots in the wake of the Southport stabbings. That's hate marches, Suella. That's what they look like. In Belfast, about 15,000 people took part in an anti-racism rally following a week of unrest and disorder in the city, while other gatherings took place in cities like Glasgow, Edinburgh, Cardiff, Hull, Liverpool and Manchester. Like I keep saying, there's more of us than there are of them. Which must come as a surprise to them, really, because I bet they live in a fetid, dark bubble and only talk to their own type, which is why they come out with things like, everybody wants this or that. All Britons want this or that. It's because those are the only people they ever talk to. If I locked you in a room with 10 other people for a year, then you would come out of it thinking that everybody thinks like those 10 people. And you might be surprised to find out that no one thinks like those 10 people except them. That's the evil nature of social media. There were widespread anti-fascist protests across London, with the largest gathering meeting outside of Reform UK's building in Westminster before moving to Trafalgar Square for speeches. The campaign Stand Up to Racism organised counter-protests outside Holyrood in Edinburgh, Dundee City Square and George Square in Glasgow. Beautiful place. Has that bloke on the horse still got a traffic cone on his head? Yeah, I know the answer is yes. Demonstrators carried placards and banners displaying slogans such as "No to Racism" and "Refugees Welcome, Stop the Far Right." One campaigner posted on X along with a video capturing a large crowd in George Square, "This is Glasgow," sending a loud and clear message to the far right. "These are our streets," they said. Yeah, that's right, they're our streets, not theirs. Back under your bridge. The demonstrations follow similar protests in Bathgate and Paisley on Friday, which were the first to be held in Scotland following the riots across parts of England. In Trafalgar Square, people condemned the ex-boss Elon Musk, under whom experts say hate speech and misinformation have thrived on the site formerly known as Twitter. He's taking advertisers to court for not advertising on his site. Yeah, that'll turn him around. Yeah. That's really going to work, yeah. Keep on keeping on, Elon Musk. One speaker from Stand Up to Racism, which organised the event, said, after being outnumbered, we turned it around this week. We certainly did turn it around, didn't we? It's like a light has been shone upon us. Chief Constable Chris Hayward, out of the National Police Chiefs Council, he is the lead for serious and organised crime, said inciting violence and encouraging mass disorder are incredibly serious offences. But this is abhorrent activity, and it did not happen by itself. Large crowds and gatherings did not mobilise spontaneously, he said. And he said it like this. I don't know why they all speak like this, but they do. It's part of their training. He said it was the result of dozens of so-called influencers exploiting the outpouring of grief from the tragic loss of 3 young girls in Southport. They knowingly spread misinformation, stoked the flames of hatred and division, and incited violence from the comfort of their own homes, causing chaos on other people's doorsteps. Of course, some were simply asking questions. Isn't that right, Nige? 0345 6060 973. Lewisham, hello, Valerie.
Hello.
Valerie.
Oh, at last. I phoned up as soon as you said there was nobody on the board. I thought I'm going to phone up.
Right.
I'm the 110-year-old woman with a landline that we spoke a few...
Yes.
And I thought maybe we could give one another some advice because I've got the 100-day cough as well.
Now, why do you call it that?
Because that's what everybody calls it.
Do they?
Yeah, it's quite widespread.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not just you and me.
Well, what's the nature?
world.
What is the nature of this thing?
Nobody seems to know. I got given some antibiotics. They didn't work.
No.
Has anything worked for you?
Did you go into the doctor and said, "Oh, please, doctor, please help me. I need antibiotics"?
Go into the doctor? Are you kidding?
How did you get antibiotics then?
I managed to get an appointment by doing something with the online app, pressing the 111 button and writing something.
Right.
And then they phoned me up and gave me an appointment. And when I got there, the doctor was ill.
Well, that's understandable, though, because all a doctor sees all day is ill people. I'm amazed they ever show up for work.
Yeah, but they fitted me in with somebody else, and she gave me some antibiotics, but they did nothing at all.
No.
Now you're not going to like this. Now they want some sputum samples.
Oh.
And it's not an easy thing to do into a little plastic tube, I tell you.
Yeah, not from... well, shall I do that joke? You want me to fill it from here? No, go on. Go ahead.
I don't know that one. Oh, dear. So I just thought I'd see if you had any suggestions.
No, I don't. No. How about sucking it up and stop whining?
Stop whining. Have you had any medical consultations, or are you just getting on with it?
No, I did. I went and saw an expert, Valerie, and he put a camera up my nose and down my throat.
What? Oh, yes, I remember you saying now, yeah.
That's right, yeah. And he said, there's nothing wrong with you, essentially. And he gave me he gave me pills. He actually said, as he was giving me the prescription, he said, these are what's the word? What's the word for a pill that doesn't actually do anything, like a sugar pill?
Well, placebo.
Yeah, he said these sometimes have a placebo effect. So.
Oh, thanks. That's helpful.
Exactly. It was an anti-acid thing, because sometimes you can get a sore throat because you've got acid reflux. It goes up from your stomach and it sort of bathes your vocal cords in... I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about now, but I think that this is correct. It bathes your vocal cords in the acid from your stomach and it gets very, very sore. It feels like I've been shouting a lot. Is that what you got?
But I'm just croaky. I feel as if, especially in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an operatically trained voice, my darling.
Do you?
And there's no way I could. I'm too old now, but there's no way I could.
That's probably a very good idea, though, to keep the training up, because it will keep your voice young and beautiful. It's your duty to be beautiful.
I also got sent for a chest X-ray, which I thought was weird. Why wouldn't they X-ray my throat? Because that's where the trouble is. Anyway, there was nothing wrong with that.
But presumably they thought that the cough was coming from your lungs.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Now, is it a sore throat? Because I can hear my voice is a bit crackly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it sort of comes and goes. And I've been feeling quite tired as well. I mean, every now and again I'll have a nap, like maybe once a week. But these days I want a nap an hour, like a full hour, maybe an hour and a half during in the middle of every day. Do you get that?
Yeah, oh yeah. But I'm not just because of that. I mean, now I'm retired, I just do it whenever I feel like it, which is most days.
Yeah, you get up first thing in the morning, immediately open a bottle. Booze. And by lunchtime you're flat out.
I wish I could. I take so many tablets. I'm not allowed alcohol.
Oh, that's a shame.
Isn't it just?
You'll have to try heroin or something, Valerie. That is the official recommendation of LBC.
Oh, we're talking about LBC. Yeah. I've got my plugged-in radio is on DAB.
Yeah.
And my one in the bathroom is on FM.
I know what you're going to say.
When I'm going between the two, they have different adverts on the two.
Oh, adverts. Oh, right. I thought you were going to tell me there's a delay, because you'll find that they're not in sync if it's DAB and the other thing.
But these are actually different adverts.
Yeah. How do they do that? It's like magic.
I don't know. Why do they do it?
I don't know.
Maybe it makes them more money, but that just means that everybody gets half as many listeners. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, it just fascinates me that I go from one room to the next and it's something different.
Yeah, don't ask me, Valerie. I have absolutely nothing to do with anything other than the speaking part of this programme. Other than that, I know nothing.
Which is all we want to listen to anyway. Right. And your little jingles. We love that too.
Yeah, why not? All right, well, I wish you all the best, Valerie. Try taking a nap every now and again.
And you get well soon too.
All right, thanks a lot. We just, Kathy texts on this subject, the 100-day cough is now proven to be the adult version of whooping cough. I thought that was a very, very serious thing.
Well, I guess it is when you're a kid, yeah. But as an adult,
Yeah.
Then...
Well, then why wouldn't the expert who looked at me have suggested such a thing? And what's the treatment for whooping cough?
Rusks.
Did you just say rusks?
I just said rusks.
Rusks? Am I hallucinating or is this real life? 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC.
Demand for water shoots up in the summertime. Every day there are more taps turning, more sprinklers spraying, and more sunseekers making a splash. While the weather's warmer, can you make the most of every drop? Small swaps, like having a shower instead of a bath, or using a watering can instead of a hose, can save water and could cut the cost of your water and energy bills. Search Thames Water Calculator to see how much you could save today. Thames Water. Every drop counts.
Thanks to a blend of petrol and electric, fill up less this summer with the Mazda 2 Hybrid. The ultra-efficient Mazda 2 Hybrid is available to finance for £229 per month with 0% APR representative. To go further for less this summer, search Mazda 2 Hybrid. Mazda Financial Services, PCP over 48 months, deposit of 4127, optional final payment of 10125, indemnities may be required.
Got the need for speed? At TalkTalk, you can go faster for less. Our full fibre 150 is now the same price as full fibre 65. So speed up on the UK's most reliable broadband technology without paying a penny more. Search TalkTalk Full Fibre. TalkTalk for everyone. Terms apply. See talktalk.co.uk for more details. Subject to local availability. Ends 28th of August 2024.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Everything is going extremely well.
Yes, nothing wrong here. 0345 6060 973. Waltham Forest. Baju.
Hi.
Baju.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, hi. I just want to say, I think before in this conversation was that where did Britain go wrong? I think... Wait. What?
Sorry. Before this conversation was where did Britain go wrong?
No. where did Britain go wrong in terms of the riots? And I think it stems from the oversensitivity of positive discrimination. I mean, I know it was okay.
The oversensitivity of positive discrimination. What does that mean?
Well, positive discrimination means basically...
No, you said the oversensitivity of positive discrimination. Yeah. What does that mean?
That means basically when in the 70s and 80s you may have had... people with different point of views where you want to put brown and black people into it. But at the end of the day, I think
Wait a minute, back up. People who have different point of views and they want to put black and brown people in it. What does that mean?
Well, positive discrimination was basically putting brown and black people into the shareholders and boards and very high positions, but
you think the black and brown people have been put into?
I'm Sikh. I'm a turban wearing Sikh, and I know because my uncle said to me. He said the only reason I got the job because I was a turban wearing Sikh. He got a third in his degree, so he's not really.
What was the job?
He worked for what's it called? JP Morgan. And he was in charge of the computer thing. Yeah.
And he only got the job.
I'm willing to give you.
He only got the job as being head of computing at JP Morgan because he was wearing a turban.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Baju. Better luck next time. Because, that's what JP Morgan is all about, being kind to those who need a leg up. Yeah. In fact, that's the banking community all over. They're just nice people. Ray says, just back from 3 days in Glasgow, it was mostly raining, apart from in the pubs. Tristan says, I'm in hospital. Nurses are running around, doctors are begging on ward corners. What? Patients are camped out in corridors. I, however, have gone private, where they have set up galleries to watch the little people. Being rich is great. I don't know what everyone's complaining about, says Tristan. Some of that made sense. I think you got the kernel of a joke there, Tristan, but the execution was somewhat wanting. I'll give you 8 for the idea, but 6 for the execution. Not a podium position. Let's see what this one's like. South Kensington, Leonard.
Oh, good evening, Nick.
Yes, Leonard.
I wanted to ask you about this dog you were talking about earlier.
Oh, my God, you've never seen anything like it. I mean, I've seen those kind of devil dogs before, but this thing was another level entirely. It was absolutely massive. I've never seen so much muscle on a dog in my life. It was the size of a small lion, and it looked about as terrifying.
Well, don't they call them bullies or something?
I've honestly never seen anything like that particular dog. I mean, I've seen the what do you call them? The American bulldogs and all those things that look like
they're called bullies. They're really quite big.
Yeah, they look like they've just come out of some sort of horror film. They look like the imagination of the special effects department of a horror film.
Yeah, something like, I don't know, the bug from Starship Troopers. But, I mean, the thing is...
not quite, no. Not quite that bad, no.
Well, not all that dissimilar. I mean, it wobbles. I mean, if you see a bear, trust me, you know about it. I saw one in Romania, but that's a story for another time.
A bear, yeah. They look kind of like a bear, yeah.
But they're the biggest, sweetest dogs ever.
Yeah, sure they are. Mm-hmm, sweet. Yeah, right.
Genuinely the owners that probably have used them for, fighting or something like that.
Leonard, what are you talking about? They are artificially made by humans in order to be vicious and vicious. I don't need to say any other word than vicious.
No, they're much more likely to lick you to death than bite you, trust me, because I know somebody that has one.
Yeah. Sure, Leonard. Okay, well, you go and give it a great big kiss from me, all right? I've heard that so many times. Oh, they're great with kids, yeah, right up until the point that they eat them. And there's absolutely, you don't get any warning. It's instant death. How can anybody defend that? I just don't get it. Why does anybody need to own a dog that is as dangerous as dragging around a bomb on a piece of string? You can protect yourself from a bomb just as easily as protecting yourself from one of those dogs. Because if a tiny little switch goes off in its microscopic doggy brain and it doesn't like you anymore, or the person across the street for whatever stupid doggy reason, then you or they are dead. This absolutely insane argument that, oh, because it hasn't killed me yet, it's sweet, it's just ridiculous. Every single one of those things should be round up and dealt with appropriately. They should all go and live on a farm somewhere. And I'm waggling my fingers in the air to denote inverted commas. Where's it gone? Oh, it's on a farm. Yeah, he's living out his life on a farm. Yeah. John says, with the heightened aurora coupled with the Perseid meteor shower, what we're in is the opening of the Day of the Triffids. By morning, everyone will be blind. The main Triffid army has been seen heading for Clacton or clutching photos of Nigel Farage. Oh, well, the blind are the fortunate ones, then. 0345 6060 973. Oldbury, Ranjit.
Hey, Nick, you okay?
Yes, good, thanks.
Yeah, I'll just briefly talk about the dogs, yeah, and these people, right? The most superior brain in the world is supposed to be the human beings, yeah? And we sometimes, a switch can flick with us, yeah?
Yeah.
So how can you... I mean, half of these politicians have got that stupid switch anyway, that stupid gene in their head where they want to cause havoc. So a dog's going to be unpredictable. And I had this argument with Ian Dale a few months ago, yeah?
Really?
I said, listen, if you're going to take a dog out in the public, it's got to be muzzled. He goes, what, even a Chihuahua? I says, yes.
Yes,
even a Chihuahua.
Chihuahuas are nasty little things.
Yeah, right, because they got the small man syndrome, right? The thing is, you know, this would stop any kind of, confusion, yeah?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Dogs are going to be muzzled, yeah?
Precisely. It's like, well, it's not on this particular list because of this tiny little discrepancy, and that's just complete nonsense, and muzzle them all. Exactly right.
I say muzzle them all, yeah? I mean, if Keir Starmer, right, he wants to bring in law and order, bring rules in like that. That will help me and you and everybody else.
Yeah.
You see these guys, right, because a mad dog is an extension of these thick old people's ego, yeah?
Yes, exactly.
And the other
right.
thing I want to talk about, what you briefly touched about, this bus driver being abused, yeah? Now, people think they've got a God-given right to abuse people in the public, service industries, right? And they all go...
as though they're not actually people, particularly if they're behind a glass or a screen of some sort. In much the same way as these rioters interact with police that are behind a screen. Because if you're behind a screen, then you're not... You're sort of one removed from being human. You know, you're just a thing. You're just an image behind a screen, and they react to them in that way. Where I would guess that they wouldn't react if the screen wasn't there in such a way.
Well, the other thing is, if the guy behind the counter, right, he's like 6'6", right, and built like what you call it, proverbial, what you call it, house, yeah? And then people think twice about abusing them, right? But the thing is, when, these politicians have got a lot to be blamed about now. People are using racist language now, bluntly. Before it was you lot, and say what you mean, us lot, yeah? Now it's there. I mean, I'm lucky, to be honest with you. All the customers we got are very friendly and are okay. But, because I've told them, I say, mate, you be abusive to me or anybody else, we ain't going to serve you. End of, right?
Yeah. Now, are they nice before they eat your produce or afterwards as well?
Obviously, I ain't going to say no. We're lucky we are. Okay. But what I'm saying is generally now, right, people think, right, that, you was discussing this last night, right, that he started banging them up, yeah? And when people are worried about there's not enough prison space, my opinion is you go in, you learn how to be a brickie, you'll build another prison then for your mates if they're going to follow you. If they're going to learn... They're going to learn that to get a job,
Well, it's going to be, I mean, a lot of them look like they have deliberately removed themselves from the job market. I mean, if you get a full face tattoo and then complain you can't find a job, well, I'm sorry, but that's on you, you idiot.
Well, the thing is, right, I used to work with this girl. She's still a friend of mine, right? She used to dye her hair like a big punk rocker, and she was in the service reception of a parcel company I used to work for, right? So when somebody came in, right, to collect their parcel or something, I mean, that's the face of our company. It's a big multinational company, and trust me, yeah? But, I mean, then the thing is, these people will say, hang on, it's my civil rights. If I want to have tattoos on my face, so you're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Well, no, you're not, because it's the company's civil rights not to employ you if they don't think that you represent their company values. And if you've got if you're proudly displaying a swastika tattoo, then there are very few jobs that are available to you. And so, I mean, my bottom line is the people with the bricks in their hands, we would be, as a country, better off without them. And if, as they say, we are full, then can we get rid of those people who are pushing burning bins at police persons? Yeah. We can get rid of those people and keep the people who have come here from another country in order to better themselves, to work hard and, pay taxes for the benefit of all. I think just because you were born here I think maybe we should just Ranjit, I'm going to have to go because I'm up against the news, but thanks for that. I think maybe we should reconsider the whole concept of citizenship. Because just because you got born here, does that mean that you are displaying British values? I'm not sure about that. I mean, if you get born here and you never do a day's work in your life and you spend all day, drinking Stella and getting tattoos and having parties till 4 a.m. and screaming and yelling at all times of the day or night, you're not helping. You're dragging the rest of us down. So maybe you should go live somewhere else. We should build a big, beautiful place for people like that to go and live. And then they'd have nothing to complain about. Maybe not.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 11 o'clock, the Justice Secretary is warning the impact of this summer's disorder across England and Northern Ireland will be felt for months and years to come. Shabana Mahmood says the riots will delay government efforts to enhance the justice system, as LBC's Tom Harrigan reports.
Since coming to power 5 weeks ago, the government's already released some convicted criminals from prison early as part of efforts to free up cells. Many of those could now be filled again with people convicted as a result of the rioting seen since the Southport stabbings. More than 300 have so far been charged. The arrest figure is well over 700. Ministers say the country was already facing a massive backlog of court cases, although Shabana Mahmood claims things would have been much worse had Labour not started taking action as soon as it came into office.
The parents of one of the young girls killed in the Southport stabbing say her older sister saw the attack and managed to escape. 6-year-old BB King's family say she was full of joy, light and love. They've also praised her sister Jeannie for her incredible strength and courage. Jordan's foreign minister has warned the country will not become a battlefield for Iran or Israel if the conflict in the Middle East escalates. The kingdom saying it won't allow either regime to violate its airspace if relations in the region deteriorate further. The Algerian boxer at the centre of a gender row at the Paris Olympics has filed a legal complaint saying she's become a victim of online harassment. Hamana Khalif won gold in the women's welterweight final a year after being disqualified from the world champions. Critics argued the 25-year-old shouldn't have competed following concerns about elevated testosterone levels. The Olympian says, "I am a woman like any other woman. I was born a woman. At the Olympics today, there was once again a late influx of medals for Team GB. Chris Cave's been watching proceedings in Paris for LBC.
Caden Cunningham couldn't quite get his hands on Taekwondo gold after losing in the final, while Rebecca McGowan fell to the floor after defeat in her bronze medal match. Kate Shortman and Izzy Thorpe made history, becoming the first British artistic swimmers to win an Olympic medal, landing silver. There was bronze for Games debutant Georgia Bell in the 1500 metres, while both men's and women's 4x400 metres relay teams came third. Diver Noah Williams had earlier taken third step on the podium in the 10-metre springboard.
LBC weather, cloud lingering in the southwest with fog patches tonight, but dry and clear elsewhere across the country as the night goes on. We'll see a low varying from 19 in the south to 9 degrees in the north. From Global's newsroom, for LBC, I'm Tim Daly.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Shut up.
You're wondering what it's all about, and I can't tell you because I don't know myself.
Tristan text. No, I've read that one. I'm off to a standing start, like the wacky races. Jason says, Ray Gunn, the academic Aussie breakdancer, apparently set breakdancing back 20 years. Funniest thing I've seen in yonks, especially the kangaroo hopping bit. Well, don't tell us. As forthcoming attractions. I'll have to catch up with that later. Kangaroo hopping bit? You've got to be kidding me. Rebecca says, can you confirm whether Tommy Ten Names was protecting himself from the Cypriot sun or not to prevent himself from turning brown? Tavistock. Hello, Rose.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I didn't hear the Tavistock bit, and suddenly it was like you were in the same room.
It's you.
Yes. I'll do an Isaac. Point 1, point 2, point 3.
Who's Isaac?
Isaac in Heston. He's a lovely contributor.
What, to this show?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, he's my favourite.
It's incredible, this landline, you know. You sound so close.
Right, yeah, it's like you're whispering directly into my ear.
Oh, lovely.
It's remarkable, isn't it? Landlines, as opposed to mobile phones. Because you can buy a landline phone for like 20 quid. A mobile phone, you can buy one for £2,000 and it sounds 10 times worse.
Yeah. Well, that's not what they're for, is it? So for all the other rubbish.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Well, yes, first point, it was agreed, obviously. It's just really heartening on Wednesday. And the thing about it, you know, all the counter demos, 10,000 people in Walthamstow, it's the unexpectedness, because there we were sitting there thinking, oh, God, what's going to kick off?
Yeah.
And suddenly it's the opposite, and you just think, you cannot predict anything, can you?
Yes.
Chance is a wonderful thing.
Yes, and we're really racking them up. I mean, there was the thing with the French election when people thought, oh, God, the Nazis are going to take over France now. And then they faced them down and the majority got their way. And then in this country, we turned a corner and stepped into the light at the last election.
Yeah.
And in America, people thought that it was a done deal that Adolf Hitler was going to be president again. And then Kamala Harris comes along, and then she picks this guy, Tim Walz, who looks like America's dad. And she's flipped that race on its head, and Trump looks like a deflated loser now. So, yes, and people thought that Wednesday was going to be a nightmare. They thought that this weekend was going to be hell on earth. And like I was saying last weekend, there's more. People should take comfort from and strength from the notion that there is more of us, way more of us than there are of them. It's just that they shout the loudest. That's all.
Well, they do, yes, and it connected with my second point. It's the way, it was a complete turnaround, you know, kind of 360-degree turn.
I was expecting to wake up on Thursday morning and read reports of, a catastrophe and mayhem, and instead it was the exact opposite.
I know. Well, I was going to say this, it just struck me, this may be so blindingly obvious I shall look an idiot, but it struck me today that it's very, very simple about what right-wing parties and governments do, and I think we've had a radical right-wing government up until now.
From David Cameron onwards.
I think this is nonsense. I would say from David Cameron
Mr.
onwards,
Austerity, yeah.
They've got a simple modus operandi. They do whatever they want that benefits them and their mates and harms the population and blame the harm on immigrants. So they need more immigrants and they need them to be as visible as possible.
Yes.
End of. That's what they do.
Yeah, nutshell. I mean, all the way, for the past couple of years, I've been saying that the Tory party doesn't actually want to solve the problem of the small boats. They just want to keep whining about it all the time, which is why the Rwanda thing cost us so very much and delivered absolutely nothing whatsoever. It's because they didn't actually want it to work.
No, it delivered for them. You know, it delivered for what they wanted it to do.
Constantly picking at a scab is essentially what they were doing,
So everyone's banging on about it now, and then we've got rioters saying, whoa, go to Rwanda, sort of thing.
It's the same trick that works every time a political party is shameless enough to try it. Blame an identifiable small minority for what the people above you on the ladder are doing. And the ladder thing is just worth keeping in mind. It's not people below you on the ladder pulling you down, which is what they want you to think, which is why working class people are fighting each other on the streets, while people who come from Eton, who have been orchestrating this, like the conductor of a band, and just openly laughing at the mayhem that they have created. It's not the people below you on the ladder that are pulling you down. It's the very few people above you on the ladder who are pushing you down.
Yes, exactly. And the right-wing press I was going to mention, I mean, obviously everybody has, but I think it's almost funny, really, the way the rioters must be feeling betrayed, because for years and years,
absolutely,
the right-wing press have been urging them to be aggressive to foreigners of all kinds, and finally they heed the call, and the same papers turn on them. I mean, every time I saw, occasionally, I tried to avoid seeing it in the Co-op, but, the front of the Daily Mail or something, and there would be that Braverman woman saying, well, get rid of them and all this. Every time I saw things like that, I thought, there's going to be violence.
Yeah.
It was so obvious.
And then they clutch their hankies to their chest and go into a Victorian fainting fit at the very suggestion that they had anything to do with it.
Yes, but they're delighted, really. Can I mention... Sorry, go on.
Go on. Loving it is what I was going to say.
Yes,
go on.
Loving it, yes. I don't know why I'm putting this in here, but you were talking about citizenship earlier, or just before, really. I've got a Romanian friend. I think of him as a friend. He's very, very young. He's in his 40s, and he's one of our taxi drivers. And he got citizenship a few years ago. He suddenly turned to me in the front seat, and he said, with this beautiful beam across his face, he said, "Oh, I haven't told you, I got my citizenship." And he was thrilled to bits. He's got dual citizenship. But you see, I like this man very much indeed, and I'll tell you one reason why. Years ago now, it's several years ago now, I heard on the radio about swallows on their way migrating, or being trapped by awful people in nets. And I think you'll have got an idea of what I'm like. I don't have much control, and I just lost it. I was going around the house saying, all human beings should have their heads boiled in oil, I was saying. And I texted this to various friends, and I got this message back from my Romanian friend saying, in Romania they are considered sacred. It is a blessing if they nest in your property, and we do not touch them. It is even said that if you disturb their nest, the same thing will happen to you. And I just went, oh, great.
On the other hand, though,
spoil
Rose,
this for me, please.
Well, I think I might just spoil it a little bit. On the other hand, in this country alone, we do eat 1 billion chickens a year.
Oh, well, I know that.
Billion.
Yes.
And chickens are people too, you know.
Well, I don't eat them. I believe you can have that and put that in your pipe and smoke it, or whatever the expression is.
Right, OK. Will do. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, Rose. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Maybe in the future, we will sort of reconsider the idea of citizenship, because it is a bit weird, isn't it, that you can be born in a country by complete accident and complete coincidence, and then that country has to put up with you, regardless of what you do, forever, because you are British, French, Polish, whatever. Maybe there should be some sort of standard by which you can or cannot be granted citizenship. And those that pass the test, for whatever reason, they get to stay. And those that don't pass the test, for whatever reason, let's say they cover their face with swastika tattoos, thereby deliberately taking themselves out of the job market, people who have endless parties till 4 o'clock in the morning and they have the music turned up loud because it's my right and I can do what I want. People who drag around devil dogs on a piece of string, kidding themselves that they can control it if the dog goes nuts and starts biting the head off a child. People who don't pick up the poop of that dog, or do, and hang a bag of it off a tree, as though that's helping. People who just drop litter all over the place. People who take their rubbish and throw it over the fence of the back garden into your garden, for instance. People who just scream at each other all the time until all hours of the night, keeping you up. You know, people who are dragging us all down. If this was a boat, if the country was a boat and we were in danger of sinking and we could see where we were going and we were all rowing towards that destination, apart from a few people who refuse because they don't want to. It's boring. You know, those people. Then perhaps if the boat is in danger of sinking because it's got too many people on it, then we should jettison those people overboard. And then, of course, there'll be people who not only refuse to help in any way, they just want to lie there, sunning themselves and have other people do for them and clean around them and cook their meals for them and so on. Because it's my right. And in their spare time, they're digging holes in the hull to let the water in. Well, maybe we should start by jettisoning those people over the side. And whether you got born on the boat or not, don't make no never mind. I think perhaps in the future it might get like that, because there's a, and it's not even a question of an underclass. It's not a question of class either. It's not money, because every society needs people who are earning a ton of money, and those people at the bottom of the ladder who are earning not very much. I mean, we can distribute wealth more evenly, absolutely. And doing that produces happier people. And the evidence of that is the countries that always top the World Happiness Index, which comes out every year, are always the same blooming countries. And and uncoincidentally, they also top the Wealth Distribution Index. In this country, we do particularly badly. In America, they do so badly they are virtually on another scale. But so it's not a question of that. It's not we'll have a land for rich people, but we'll have a land for people who are contributing. I mean, keep in mind, just remember some of the pictures of the rioters that you've seen over the last week or so. Did any of those people look like, on balance, they are contributing? Or are they just draining the life out of the rest of us? We're picking up We are picking up after them. We are funding their lifestyle not because they can't work, because they just don't want to. Or they've deliberately taken themselves out of the the job market because they've decided to get a full face tattoo and horns in their foreheads. You know, those people. And then they complain that they can't get a job because of immigrants. No, that's not right. So maybe we should just rethink this whole idea of country and of citizenship. And we should build lands for people who either do or do not contribute. And each society will need all sorts of people. We'll need doctors, and we'll need captains of industry, and we'll need broadcasters, and we'll need street sweepers, and we'll need bin persons and police officers and all the rest of it. Everything that we've got now, we keep. It's just that it would work better because we don't have these morons with a constant whining victimhood. Nothing is their fault. Nothing that they do is their fault. It's always somebody else. Those people. Hands up who's with me. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Weekdays from 7 a.m.
For the third time, why did senior officers not put an exclusion zone around that hotel?
Straight to the point.
You didn't do anything well, is what they might be thinking.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC.
Why is he misrepresenting the truth?
Listen on your radio and global player. LBC.
Next up, which markets might be affected by the election results?
Hi, this is Peter, an investor on eToro. I feel that housing and energy stocks could benefit.
Interesting, Peter. Let's hear another opinion.
Alice here, also on eToro. I think results are so predictable that most market reactions will be priced in.
Sounds lively on eToro. So download the eToro app and join the conversation there.
Not investment advice. The value of your investments may go up or down. Your capital is at risk.
Imagine if you had the cycle data to beat the ultimate competition. You. No need to imagine. The new Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra uses Galaxy AI to automatically compare today's race to previous ones, giving you key data and insights to keep improving. 20 seconds faster. Eat my dust, me.
Galaxy AI is here. Buy the new Galaxy Watch Ultra today. Requires smartphone operating on Android 11 or above in the latest version of the Samsung Health app. Route must match the pre-generated path. Samsung account required.
Got the need for speed? At TalkTalk, you can go faster for less. Our full fibre 150 is now the same price as full fibre 65. So speed up on the UK's most reliable broadband technology without paying a penny more. Search TalkTalk Full Fibre. TalkTalk for everyone. Terms apply. See talktalk.co.uk for more details. Subject to local availability. Ends 28th of August 2024.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Right, so what are we doing?
Given we're doing a radio show, but it does remind me that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
And it's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? And it is an unalloyed delight. I think you'll love it. The idea is that we try to solve people's problems. Now, if you have an issue that you would like us to bend our brain to, then simply send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com. That is nickandcarol@global.com. But you must prepare for total satisfaction.
Oh, right, yeah.
Ask for it by name. On an internet near you, what's your problem with Nick and Carol? Yes?
No.
0345 6060 973. Let's see now. Gloucester. Hello, Vicky.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Great, mate.
Good. I've not phoned you before. But
Hey, Vicky, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind, Vicky.
not funny.
A little bit.
You used to make me laugh, though. But, well, I was going to phone you about something else.
I used to make you laugh. That's two insults, and we haven't even been talking for a minute yet, Vicky.
Yeah, but I need to phone you because my friend Kelly wants to know if you've finished your jigsaw yet. She's too embarrassed to phone herself.
Yeah, no.
Still not?
Well, I had to put it away, which caused me great grief because I was quite close to finishing it, but I got there's building work going on, so I had to pile lots of stuff on the table. Had to strip a room out and put all the stuff, wherever it fitted, and so the jigsaw had to go because the table became a place for piling things on.
Well, I hope it hasn't broken up, because then you've got to start again.
Oh yeah, no, it all went back in the box. Yeah, I do have to start again. Yeah.
That's no good, is it?
No, it isn't very good. No.
Anyway, the Olympics. What's going on with the taekwondo and the judo? It just looks like two siblings fighting. I haven't a clue what's going on.
Are you watching the BBC or Discovery Plus?
I was watching BBC.
Right, but do they not explain what's going on? Because the thing about Discovery Plus is a lot of their coverage doesn't have any commentary at all. And so you do get, I was mentioning this last night, you do get a bit lost, and you don't know where you are or who's ahead, or in fact when the thing is over. Like, you're sitting there waiting for the next person to take part, but it's finished already. And you think, oh, it would have been nice to know. So
I think we're just like grabbing at each other, and then my daughter kept saying, why are they just hugging? Because they just stop and hug, and then they let go and then start kicking each other. And it just looks like...
No, that's football.
Kids kicking. That's football.
That's football, Vicky.
Damn, I knew I was watching the wrong thing.
Yeah, I've got no idea what the difference between jiu-jitsu or judo or taekwondo or any of those things are. I've got absolutely no idea. And I think that's too many.
They just throw each other on the floor, and taekwondo, they seem to kick each other in the head.
Right. I think that's too many fighty sports, because they got wrestling and boxing as well. That's way too much fighting.
Way too much fighting, I know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of balls as well.
There's a lot of what?
There's a lot of balls as well.
Well, if you say so, Vic. I don't know what you've been watching, but I think I'll just draw a veil over that. Cheers, my dear. Stu says, j'habite en France et je parle français avec mes voisins. You're just talking gibberish, Stu. Sam says, apparently they're introducing brick throwing in the next Olympics. We are favourites. Yeah, we'll punch anybody in the face who says otherwise. And Raj says, that Hugo Boss T-shirt, talking about the bloke with the spitting on the bus, that Hugo Boss T-shirt was probably fake. 120 quid. You can buy them down the pub for a tenner. There's Raj, without any evidence, adding to the list of crimes that person has potentially committed. Buying fake goods now. John says, in the ancient Olympics, they had a poetry composition competition. Did they? Did they? Was it absolutely necessary that they were nude while they were doing it?
No.
No, I didn't think so. But they did it anyway. You believe that?
Disgusting.
Newham. Hello, Danny.
Yeah, hi.
Danny.
Yeah.
Yes, Danny.
Oh, yeah, hi, sorry. I just want to say, basically, to be honest, Nick, I sense you've never been punched in the face, because at the end of the day, I don't think you would stand up to what you're saying, because you're being very disrespectful to the working class, and I'm working class.
Wait a minute, hang on, wait, back up. In what way am I being disrespectful to the working class?
Because you keep talking about accents and this, that, and the other, but listen.
I keep talking about accents. I do all sorts of accents. I do the King, for instance. I do Donald Trump. Is that classist too?
No, you would get punched in the face and you would certainly change your tune.
About what?
Why you're being so brave, because at the end of the day, what you have to realise is the problem is the Quran, yeah?
Okay, all right. With the greatest respect, Danny, get lost. Neil texts, sorry about the last misinterpretation. I'm using Siri. Let's introduce Morris dancing as an Olympic sport, and then we're guaranteed to win gold. I don't know what misinterpretation you're talking about. Nothing makes sense on this show anymore. James says, regarding the skateboarding and the snowboarding, you've done a great job for the layman. Street skateboarding is dull. Park is great. That is true. The tube in the Winter Olympics is the half pipe. That is also correct. The flying tomato is Shaun White. Also correct. You've done yourself proud, says James. Well, thanks for translating my my misinformation, James. Appreciate it. Rob says, Corey Bantic sounds like the jock bully in an American teen movie. Who is that? I don't know who that is. Who is that?
Tamui. Who?
Corey
Oh, no, that was the word which we needed to understand earlier.
What word?
Well, there's a list of words which the lady sent in, that she just discovered this week. And one of them was Corey Banty?
I've got no idea.
Corey Bantic.
You know what? I don't listen to this show, so I'm not the best person to ask. But it was something that happened some while ago. What the hell was that last guy on about, by the way? And why did you put it through to me?
I think he came through quite centre ground, speaking with me, and then changed things up.
And the moment he started speaking, I thought...
Warning!
Yeah, I thought, oh no, here we go. A bloke with a whining grievance. He was coming across a bit like Donald Trump.
Like to punch him in the face.
Yeah. Christ texts, surely not. Are you kidding me? Really? Chris, maybe. Maybe it's Chris. Let's go with that, shall we? Chris texts, the British Olympics should include carrying as many sausage rolls from Greggs as possible while chanting right-wing platitudes, dressing as an MP and wheelbarrowing as many £50 notes as you can. The list is endless, says Chris. Or Christ. Depending. It could have been. I've heard he moves in mysterious ways. You just don't know. Are you giving me poems now?
Yeah, this is a Olympic gold medal winning poetry.
Is it?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Because I Googled it.
And that was virtually a mic drop there, wasn't it? Because I Googled it. Beat that. All right. I'll read it as written. Modern history's first written work to win an Olympic gold medal was Ode to Sport, a prose poem by Georges Horod and M.S. Blach. Well, how old is this?
1912, I believe.
Right. So it's not... It's because I thought the people were saying that there was... it was in the Greek times, you know, when...
Yeah, those were ancient Olympics, weren't they?
Yeah.
And this is modern.
Okay, so it's a modern poem.
I'll Google ancient Olympic poetry.
Yeah, okay. Great, I can't wait. More poems.
Boring!
Do you want me to read a poem, really? O sport, delight of the gods, distillation of life. In the grey dingle of... What? Talking about dingles now.
Disgusting.
You believe that? Well, they were naked when they were doing it, so maybe that's what was on their minds. O sport, delight of the gods, distillation of life. In the grey dingle of modern existence, restless with barren toil, you suddenly appeared like the shining messenger of vanished ages, those ages when humanity could smile. Worst poem ever. Doesn't even rhyme. God, I'll never get that minute back. Not that I'm complaining or anything.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 11:30, the news headlines with Tim Daly.
The Justice Secretary is saying the summer's disorder across England and Northern Ireland will delay the government's efforts to enhance the justice system. Shabana Mahmood says the effects will be felt for months and years to come. Jordan's foreign minister has warned the country will not become a battlefield for Iran or Israel. If the conflict in the Middle East widens, the kingdom is saying it won't allow either regime to violate its airspace if relations in the region deteriorate further. And the Algerian boxer at the centre of a gender row at the Paris Olympics has filed a legal complaint saying she's become a victim of online harassment. Hamana Khalif has won gold in the women's welterweight final a year after being disqualified from the World Championships. LBC weather, cloud will linger in the southwest with some fog there overnight. Otherwise dry with clear skies for most areas, but a wide range of temperatures. 19 degrees in the south, but in the north we'll see a low of 9 degrees.
This is LBC.
Experience. It's knowing that all holidays are different. That's why Saga Travel Insurance now has 5 cover options to choose from, all with a 24-hour GP service, no upper age limit, and same-day payments when making a claim. From weekend stays to global getaways, search Saga Over 50s Travel Insurance for a quote today. Saga. Experience is everything. Same-day claims payments can be made if approved before 4 p.m. UK time. Terms and conditions apply. Provided by Strenska Insurance Limited.
Oh no!
Someone is stealing the smiles from Happy Meal. Join the mission to get them back with the minions from Despicable Me 4. Only in cinemas. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until the 27th of August from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy while stocks last.
Get the best seat in the house at the HSL Summer Sale. Get up to 50% off some of our favourite chairs, including the Bicester, Carnaby and Eltham. Save up to 25% across the stylish and supportive Stressless range. And get up to 20% off on beds too. Tired of waiting for the Great British Summer? There's a warm welcome in store at the HSL Summer Sale. Now on.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Absolutely no idea. I'll have another go at this text from Rob. He says, Corey Bantic sounds like the jock bully in an American teen movie who lashes out against the world because he's ashamed of his Finnish heritage. And not accepted by his unforgiving father because he'll never accomplish ski jump greatness. Sorry for the message, my mouth is sealed shut, says Rob. That was all very, very specific, Rob. Weirdly so. Peter says, play the Wurzels Combine song as a tribute to those getting the harvest in. Yes, we appreciate your efforts. Maybe some of you are in a field right now with all your lights on, getting the harvest in because it's just at the right humidity or moisture content or whatever that was. I learned something about farming watching Jeremy Clarkson, but not a lot. Corey Bantic, wild and frenzied, apparently. That was one of the words that somebody texted in earlier on that they had learned just today.
Started the show.
Yeah.
In great fashion.
Stochastic terrorism being one of them. That's come up on Twitter quite a lot. Certain individuals are very, very guilty about that, and they know who they are. And Corey Bantic was another one, wild and frenzied. And an example of Corey Bantic used in a sentence is, according to this dictionary, rock and roll's Corey Bantic gyrations.
Rock and roll!
Well, that sounds awful, depending on who's doing it. I mean, Mick Jagger's pretty Corey Bantic, I do believe. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Beverly in East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, I rang you about dogs initially, but a couple of little quickies first. My weirdest Olympic sport was pistol dueling, where competitors actually shot each other, literally.
What?
With wax bullets.
Oh, when was that?
1900 and odd.
Oh, okay.
But it was obviously it's modern Olympics because the Romans or the Greeks didn't have pistols. The other one was hot air balloon racing.
Hot air balloon racing. Yeah, I do believe that the wind does most of the work.
I can't imagine how they'd race. I mean, unless they had little paddles and they were flopping little paddles to try and make it go faster or something. But
I don't really understand the concept of hot air ballooning. I mean, I've always wondered. So you go up, and then you just go where the wind takes you, and then you try to land without hitting a building or power lines. But then what happens? How do you get back?
Oh, they have retrieval parties. It's a bit like gliding. If you go gliding, there's a party ready to come and retrieve you if you don't make it back.
How though? How would they keep up with you? I mean, because you're in a balloon and you're floating over mountains. There's no roads anywhere because you're just going where the wind's going. How do they get you back?
They follow you over. Well, I don't think that many people go, but they follow you by road. I mean, like gliding.
Yeah.
When you in gliding competitions, you're supposed to fly a triangle, which might be 100 miles each side.
Okay, but that might be relatively easy in a glider because you have some sort of control over where you're going. But in a balloon, you just go where the wind goes. So suppose there's no roads.
Then you're in trouble.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I just don't.
Keep going until you come to a road.
I just don't understand the concept of ballooning unless they tie a giant elastic band on you and then they poing you back.
they reel you in.
Yeah, you just get a couple of tugs on the elastic, and they boing you back.
It does all seem mad. But the second little quick point, there are these people protesting outside Reform UK's supposed headquarters. It's not Reform UK's headquarters. They abandoned it and moved to secret headquarters, which they won't disclose to anybody. They bravely ran away. It's only a postal address. No Reform business takes place at that address anymore.
Really? Well, that's a bit odd. I mean, what kind of an upstanding business has got a secret address?
Well, yeah, but they legally, that is their postal address, so that's what's registered with Company's House, but they won't disclose. They admit they've moved, and they're saying they're keeping it quiet because they're frightened of more protests.
Well, they're concerned that they're just so popular that people will be swarming them to, wish them all the best.
Something like that, yes, they're cowards. But anyway, dogs, going back to dogs, I think what you've seen tonight, Nick, is something called a Dogue de Bordeaux. They're massive. A Dogue de Bordeaux. They're big, formerly French dogs, but these dogs are massive. They weigh, a fit big one will weigh 11 or 12 stone.
What?
And they are muscled, and you could easily mistake one if you were a dog person. They stand their heads almost waist high, and they're just an absolute pack of muscles.
Oh, as you've been saying that, I just looked it up, and that's exactly what I saw. Yes.
Yeah.
It's absolutely obscene. Nobody should be allowed to own that any more than they should be allowed to own a ground-to-air missile.
The good news, though, Nick, for you, is if you think St. Bernard, if you saw St. Bernard, you'd think, lovely, friendly dogs to rescue people.
Yeah.
Lovely temperament.
Brandy.
And Dogues are very much the same.
Please.
They're really laid back. They're not big idiots with tattoos who want a fighting dog would never pick a Dogue because they are really gentle. They're like St. Bernards. They're big, and you can always get. I must admit, if one went lunatic, you have a problem.
Yeah.
But it's like St. Bernards. Nobody would say, ban St. Bernards because they're regarded as a gentle, nice breed. And I came across them years and years ago when a good customer of mine said, one of my friends desperately needs a dog bed. There's no way he can get one, the right size. And this was a really good customer of mine. He said, will you make him a dog bed? So I said, yeah, okay. So I went round, and this is like a mini stately home. Pulled up outside on the gravel, you can imagine outside the foyer with the pillars at the front. Got out the Land Rover, and this thing came round the corner, and I first thought, God, it's a lioness. and now I've had dogs all my life, and I'm not frightened, and I thought, okay, here we go. Yeah. And it bounded up to me, and I just, best voice, sort of said, sit, and gave it the hand signal, and it sat.
Really?
And it was a really well-behaved dog, but this dog bed that he wanted was 6 foot by 3'6".
Oh, wow.
To fit this dog on, fully stretched out, back legs out, front legs out.
And he wanted you to make one custom made. Wouldn't it have been cheaper if he just got a bed?
Well, that's what I said to him. And I said to him, why don't you just get a single bed? And he said, it would look rather out of place. And I want one in the drawing room and one in the foyer. And it would look rather out of place. Yes. And he ordered one he wanted it in oak. And I made these 2 beds. And the guy who his friend who recommended me said, don't fall short on pricing. Price it right. I'm not asking you to make this thing for a loss as a favour. Don't. He said full price.
Yeah.
But he wants a nice one. And I never thought much more about it, so I made these. And then, of course, when I presented it, a month later, he says, a couple of my friends have been round, and they want them. And I ended up making about 6 or 8 of these bloody 6-foot dog beds.
How much?
For these dogs, we're going back 35 years.
Oh, right, okay.
180 quid then.
What?
For a dog bed. Well, it was oak.
You could buy a 3-bedroom house and a 2-piece suit, a weekend in Morecambe for that.
Well, yeah, fair enough. But when I delivered these, I met the dogs, and they were so daft and gentle. It was I was surprised, but when this thing came round the corner, at the size it was, literally the lioness, I thought, OK, we may have a problem here.
Yes.
But it was as daft as a brush.
But having said that, people who train lions would say the same thing. I mean, every now and again, I read some thing just recently about some guy who'd raised lions from babies, and he's sitting there and he's got his hand in their mouths and he's stroking their heads and all that sort of lovey-dovey stuff, and they wouldn't hurt a fly. Yeah, up until the point that they will, and then game's over.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, as I say, I've been around dogs all my life, and there's no way I would earn a Ridgeback or a Doberman or whatever in a family scenario.
Yeah. Or a Chihuahua.
They're snappy little things.
Horrible.
But it's limited to what damage it can do. But Ridgebacks and Dobermans and things, why people would want to earn them in a family scenario completely defeats me when you've got gentler breeds like Labs and if you want a bigger one, Golden Retrievers, if you want a smaller one, Cocker Spaniels or something, they are friendly by temperament. These other dogs have been bred to fight.
Exactly.
We've deliberately made them fighting dogs.
Yeah.
And then people say, if they're trained properly, well, I'm sorry, but, but it's like a sheepdog. Well, it's okay saying that, but it's like saying, okay, teach your XL bully to herd sheep.
Yeah, or you can use a hand grenade to play baseball with. It's perfectly safe as long as you keep the pin in. Well, yeah, okay. You go ahead and play, and I'll retire to the stands and see what happens.
It's taken us hundreds of thousands of years to train dogs to herd sheep. We've spent the same amount of time breeding dogs to fight. You can't take it out overnight.
Right.
And so certain breeds, in my opinion, shouldn't be around in the general public.
Correct, yes. All right, good to talk to you, Mike. Thanks for that. Sit. Martin says, horrific escalator story. I was on my way to a Sparks concert on the Upper West Side, New York, and I stopped at a chemist on the way, and there was a woman with a Labrador. Oh, no, am I going to like this? The dog doesn't get caught in the escalator, does it? I mean, I don't want to guess ahead, but if it does, I don't want to read that story. Huh?
It's all in his head, if you read on.
Oh, okay, so it didn't actually happen.
The horrific story's all in his head.
So I'm not going to get upset?
No.
Well, there was a pause there. Well, I'll think about it. Leave it with me. 0345 6060 973. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC.
Imagine if walking the dog and picking up some groceries counted as a workout. No need to imagine. The new Samsung Galaxy Watch 7 uses Galaxy AI to check your daily stats, giving you personalised insights and updates. Twice as many steps as yesterday? Hey, I might skip the gym tonight.
Galaxy AI is here. Buy the new Galaxy Watch 7 today. Require smartphone operating on Android 11 or above and the latest version of the Samsung Health app. Samsung account required.
Investing with AJ Bell feels so good, you'll just have to ring that bell. What's that? You haven't got a bell? That's cool. You can ring any bell. Church bell, cowbell, doorbell, bus bell. You can even ring an Annabelle.
Hello, Annabelle speaking.
That's it. That's the sweet sound of... Oh, OK, you want more bells. Dinner bells, bike bells, dumbbells, sleigh bells, tubular bells, hell's bells. Any bell, anywhere, anytime you like. That's the sweet sound of investing with AJ Bell. AJ Bell. Feel good investing. The value of investments can go down as well as up.
When Andre sold his car on finance with Motorway, he got more money. Ooh! He then put that extra money into tickets to follow his team around the country. Come on, lads! Selling on Motorway was completely stress-free, which is more than I can say about being a supporter of... Yes!
Sell your car the more money way, where 84% of sellers sold for more. Motorway. Validated against 2 independent sources. Visit motorway.co.uk/claims.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Oh, hello.
All right, I haven't read ahead, so you will learn as I go along, as I will. Martin texts, horrific escalator story. I was on my way to a Sparks concert.
Rock and roll!
On the Upper West Side, and I stopped at a chemist on the way, and there was a woman with a Labrador on the escalator in front of me, and I had a premonition halfway down. One of the dog's paws got caught in the teeth of the escalator. There was blood everywhere, and I was so horrified and physically sick that I almost didn't go to the show. Well, now, wait a minute. That's not him imagining it. That happened.
That was his... he didn't say it happened. He just...
No, he did say... You read that wrong. He had a premonition.
Yeah, and it failed.
He didn't say a false premonition. He said a premonition halfway down, so he knew what was coming. And then what came was one of the dog's paws got caught in the teeth of the escalator.
There was clarification.
There was blood everywhere, and I was horrified and physically sick, and he almost didn't go to the show.
That could be one of the potential outcomes of that text.
Yes. Guilty. I can't believe it. I've been duped. James says, did you know that town planning used to be an official Olympic sport? Town planning. As did painting. You couldn't make it up, says James. James, I think you just did. Painting? What, a ceiling, magnolia, 2 coats? Let's have Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, good evening, Nick.
Yes, Jan.
I've got a few points.
Oh, no.
A few things. No, just a few. I can zip through them if you want. But a couple of them are to do with this dog, to do with dogs.
Yes.
They're covering a couple of health things. But apparently there's I think I might get some of this dog attack spray. It's a dog attack deterrent spray that trainers of these dangerous dogs use to protect themselves from the dogs.
What happens? Well. What's the spray of? What's in it?
Yeah, well, this is. I'm not going to give a trade name, but apparently they are available on various sites, like big sites like Amazon. But like one of them is a dog attack deterrent spray. It's made of essential oils. Yeah.
Well, that's just going to make the dogs smell nice while it's biting your face off.
No. It deters. It stops them, and it can be effective if you spray it in their head, on their faces, or whatever.
Does it also work with morons?
No, wait. It lasts. Nick. It lasts for 10 to 20 minutes. It can subdue the dog for 10 to 20 minutes.
Wow, I could do with some of that myself.
No, that's what I want to get some, because I sometimes see these dogs around here and on the leads, and I want to cross the road or start walking in the middle of the road just to not be on the same side.
Yeah, or if you're feeling a little bit tense, Jan, you could just give yourself a spritz.
Give myself... What do you mean? Me a spritz?
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, no, but seriously, Nick, I think everyone ought to keep these dog sprays, dog attack deterrent sprays, because there are quite a lot of these scary dogs around.
Yes, there are.
So my other thing is about this this 100-day cough or whatever it is, and how even that lovely lady, the elderly lady, was talking about taking antibiotics. But apparently that is the worst thing, because what you need, most coughs, and I'm being Dr. Jan now, because I've been through some horror things with this thing, with antibiotics, and I was once prescribed antibiotics by a GP for something on my chest. Apparently it was a viral infection, and the antibiotics really made me 100 times worse, that I could scarcely get out of bed for a while. So there's that scandal about GPs handing out
antibiotics. Yeah, people will come in and say, please help me. I need your help. I need I can't find my car keys. I need antibiotics, doctor. Please help me.
It's very serious. But really, for the sort of thing, I feel I've got 100-day cough, whatever it's called. Yeah. But I mean, I think the thing is to boost one's immunity, with certain
just
foods.
take some naps every. Yeah, of course, that will boost your immunity. Take some naps and keep your throat moist. Little sips of water. That's what the doctor told me.
No, is that what? Yeah, but but really, certain foods are really good for boosting the immunity and keeping it strong. Like garlic extract.
Okay, let's not go down that route.
All right,
all right.
You're not interested in that.
I'll have a margarita and a packet of crisps, please.
Booze.
It's not going to. But you've got to treat it like it's a viral infection, and antibiotics is the worst thing to take.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. Yes.
So the other thing I wanted to say was about this. It was so heartening about these these riots. It was so heartening to see the anti-protesters.
That's right.
in force. I mean, that was really good. But there again, what's interesting is that, things aren't going to go away. You know what I mean? The real underlying problems aren't going to go away. Like those who feel left behind, like what do they call it? The plight of, what did they say? The plight of the white working class. They need levelling up or something, or that, say
yes.
that.
What is happening now is that the working class are being encouraged to fight amongst themselves because black working class people have more in common with white working class people than they do with the people who are actually making their lives difficult, the toffs who come out of Eton.
I don't know anything.
Those people.
Yeah. Wait,
that guy.
This government.
Him,
Absolutely.
Those are the people that are actually causing the problem. David Cameron started it off with the austerity. That's where you should be directing your ire at. Instead, they're encouraging you to fight amongst yourselves with great success.
Yeah. So Nick, but there was an interesting thing in a poll recently done by the Times. I think it just in relation to these rioting that I've got. But they're saying that the most important thing that people are saying that immigration is the top issue facing the country, and they would like it. That in this particular poll done by the Times, saying and Labour voters believe the government should be doing more to deal with current levels of migration to the UK. I mean, you're always talking about this, and it's got to do. It's like
just because people have been persuaded that is the thing that is holding them back doesn't mean to say that is the thing that is holding them back. 14 years of austerity, more than 50 years of all of the wealth that has been created going to a vanishingly small number of people at the very top. People in America would be earning double on average what they're earning now if wealth had continued to be distributed in the same way that it was in the 60s and the early 1970s. Double. And people in America earn about double for similar jobs as we do in this country. That's why people are finding it hard to get along, is because the wealth that they have created with their work has just been taken from them. And that's the reason that you feel like you're running on a conveyor belt that's going in the opposite direction. You're working what seems like your fingers to the bone, and you're not getting anywhere. You're just barely staying still. And people can see that that's going to be the case for the rest of their lives, because it's either that or they're going to win the lottery. I mean, those are their life choices. Continue to struggle by getting nowhere or win the lottery, and the best of luck with the latter. That's the reason why people feel as though they have been left behind. It's because they have been. But it's not because of other people like you who are working class or middle class, whatever it might be. It's the super rich who have organised the tax codes and all of the rest of the loopholes that they have deliberately put into the system that means that they can get away with what they have been getting away with for 50 years, which is basically taking all of the wealth that has been created by the people. And so the prices of things keep going up, but your ability to buy them keeps going down. It's absolutely infuriating. And then on top of it all, the people who have done this to you say, hey, you know who's done this to you? It's those people over there. And it happens, and it works whenever a politician or a political party has the nerve to try it on. And that's what we've been getting lately. And people are fighting amongst their own kind, which is precisely what they want. The people coming out of Eton who think they're born to lead. And people who take over companies and then strip it for parts and then fire half the workforce, load massive amounts of debt onto the company, give themselves the money that they borrowed as for excellence in being them, bonuses and staggering salaries, and then they sell that company off, or they just drive it into the ground and say, oh well, it doesn't work, and we're going to have to close it down, and then they waltz off with £100 million, and nobody else gets anything, and they do it, and they're like vultures. They call them venture capitalists. Vulture capitalists is what they should be called. And they do it again and again and again. With the connivance of the government. And the government of this country and no other country on earth, for instance, sold off all of our water. We are the only country on earth that has sold off all of our water. And how's that working out for us? Our water bills are going through the roof, and what we're getting for it continues to degrade. We've got sewage in practically every open water course in the country. And if you're considering going down to the beach tomorrow, warning, then you're in for a brown surprise. Hey, Jan, I got to go, but thanks for that. It's painful just saying the same thing over and over again. During the Olympic Summer Games from 2012 to 2048, artists from all around the world submitted their artworks in 5 categories. During the Olympic Summer Games in 1912, it wasn't just a one-off, 1912 to 1948. Artists from all around the world submitted their artworks in 5 categories: architecture, painting, sculpture, literature and music, born of the will of Pierre de Coubertin to simultaneously develop both the body and the mind. Architecture, architectural design and town planning. They were right, town planning. Sculpture, statues, medals and reliefs. Painting, paintings, drawing and watercolours, graphic arts, applied arts and engravings. Literature, lyric works, dramatic works and epic works. And music, solo and chorus, instrumental and orchestra. Wow, that sounds great. It doesn't sound like the Olympics. It sounds like the Venice Biennale, but, Well, I mean, we think we've got odd things in the Olympics these days. What they had back then was just truly bizarre, and they were naked when they were doing it.
Disgusting.
Can you believe that? Alex says, just a shout out, sat in my static, boys and lady asleep, a beer in hand, listening away.
Booze.
Well, that sounds great. Where are you parked? I'll be with you in half an hour. Khalid says, can we get the far-right protesters to learn to breakdance? I mean, they're already off their heads rolling on the ground, so we might as well get them competing for Team GB since they like the flag so much. That's a good idea. Marion says, careful, Nick, you're raising your voice a little bit tonight. You said a while ago you were going to modulate it a bit. That's true. I don't want you to go AWOL again, what with the voice problems. I really miss your programmes when you're off unwell. All this said with love, not criticism, says Marion. Appreciate it, Marion.
Thank you.
Yeah, I should do the James O'Brien thing and close mic myself instead of sitting 3 feet away and shouting. I really don't have this radio thing down yet, do I?
No.
Practice makes perfect. I'll keep doing it. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at midnight, the Justice Secretary is warning this summer's disorder in towns and cities across England and Northern Ireland will delay the government's efforts to enhance the justice system. Shabana Mahmood says the effects will be felt for months and years to come, as there was already a backlog of legal cases and a lack of prison capacity. More than 700 people have already been arrested over the trouble, which began after 3 children were killed in Southport. The Foreign Secretary says he's appalled by Israel's airstrike on a school in Gaza after claims around 80 people have been killed. Palestinian health authorities say at least 47 more have been injured. The IDF believes the building was being used as a Hamas command center. Former Foreign Office official Charlie Gamal says the strike could destabilize the region even further.
The calculations that are going on in Tehran is that Tehran cannot let this attack on Fuad Shukr and Ismail Haniyeh in Iran go unresponded to. This is the cycle we're in. National pride calls for it, and the Iranians must do something to satisfy that urge.
Jordan's foreign minister has already warned his country will not become a battlefield for Iran or Israel if the conflict in the Middle East does escalate. Children are to be taught how to spot fake news and extremist content online under planned changes to the school curriculum. The Education Secretary says there'll be a review of what's taught in primary and secondary schools. Bridget Phillipson has told a newspaper she wants critical thinking to become embedded across multiple subjects. The Algerian boxer at the centre of a gender row at the Olympics has filed a legal complaint saying she's become a victim of online harassment. Amana Halif won gold in the women's welterweight final 12 months after being disqualified from the World Championships because of a row about chromosomes. Visiting Professor of Applied Sports Sciences John Brewer has been telling LBC the issue is incredibly divisive.
XY chromosome boxers are allowed to fight at the Olympic Games. The two boxers who are fighting at the moment were both banned by their own world federation, the IBA, from fighting in their world championships. So in many ways, the Olympics is the only tournament that will allow them to compete against female athletes.
The 25-year-old Olympian says, "I am a woman like any other woman. I was born as a woman." And figures out this morning are showing almost 3,500 morning rush hour trains were cancelled in Scotland last year. The data, obtained through Freedom of Information requests, shows an average of 10 ScotRail services were cancelled every day during 2023. LBC weather, cloud lingering in the southwest, so some fog patches are possible there overnight. Otherwise dry with clear spells across the country, a low of 19 in the south, but cooler in the north though, with a low of 9 degrees. From Global's newsroom, for LBC, I'm Tim Daly.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Dude! I wanted to do a couple of stories tonight, but all these people, they keep phoning me. I wanted to talk about Donald Trump, because he's having a very bad time at the moment. And I also wanted to talk about a urinal.
What?
Yeah, a very, very important urinal. So I might get to that in a minute. Chris says, huge paradox that many racist numpties were on the football terraces this afternoon cheering when their star black player scored a goal for their team. Yeah, it must cause a little bit of noise in their brains when that happens. Yeah, they can't quite figure it out. Johnny says, I'm going to set up a fruit and veg stall. If no one buys anything, I'm going to sue everyone. If it's good enough for Elon. Yeah, kids are going to get taught, that on the news I just heard it, kids are going to get taught to spot fake news. Kids, it's really easy. If it's a tweet by Elon Musk or somebody with MAGA in their bio, it's fake news. I think you'll find that that is correct. Brian texts, Rusks, complain like a baby, get treated like a baby. That's in relation to something that happened on this show a while ago. Hey, by the way, you know the Friday and Saturday night shows get stuck up the internet as a podcast. If you can't stay up and you want to listen to them later, then we do put them, and they're kept forever, ever. Because the Listen Again feed, that disappears in about a week. All of our shows you can listen again on Global Player, but they go in about a week. But we put the Friday and Saturday night shows up the internet as podcasts, so they stay there forever. And it's definitely the way to listen to it, because we take the news and most of the ads out. Mostly. So it takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity. And with the money you save, you'll be able to buy yourself a DAB radio. Which Bob texts the following. It's on Global Player, by the way. And the thing is called Nick Abbot, The Whole Show Podcast. Bob says, I think you're wrong. I have a DAB radio in the kitchen and an FM radio in the bathroom. They're both in sync, so I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think that's true. I think they're out of sync, aren't they? I think there's a delay. But maybe your bathroom is so far away from your kitchen that it fixes itself as it travels through the air. Oh. They're both in sync in the kitchen and the bath. Oh, I've been sideswiped. A listener with material.
Oh, no.
Right. You believe that? Heston, Isaac.
Hello, Nick. Yeah, I got that joke pretty quickly.
It passed me by.
Right. Oh dear. Hang on a second. Oh dear. Hold on a second. Oh my goodness. I was about to read something off my computer screen.
Anytime you like. It's a live show.
Hang on. Oh God, I'm gonna sit. Oh heavens, I've got to sit up. Hang on. Because what's happened is that the screensaver's come on. So I've got to move forward.
Right.
Off the top of my head, right, it's three things, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Without reading from my computer screen.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, we've sent 3 Home Secretaries to Rwanda, okay?
Yeah. By the way, by the way, I mean, in my defence, I should say that he spelt sink wrong. S-I-N-K. So that's what set me off. Right.
I understand, yeah.
Right.
Sink and sink.
I should have got that straight away, so I'm even more of a fool than I previously thought, because he actually did spell it S-I-N-K, which is a sign.
Yeah. Okay. Right, let's get my screen back on. Oh, good, right. We've sent 3 Home Secretaries to Rwanda.
Yeah.
All of them people of colour, right? Okay. Number 2, civil peace has broken out in the UK, thank God.
Yeah.
When I say civil peace, that's as opposed to Elon Musk's civil war.
Yes.
Right. And number 3, I'd like to say well done to the USA women for winning gold in the Olympic football. And there you go. Those are my 3 points.
Right. That's very specific, just picking that one discipline out. And it was Americans what won it.
That's right. Well, it's so many, you know. I mean...
Could you not have picked one that Team GB won?
Team GB, yes. What did we win? I've forgotten. Right, we nearly won the 400 metres for the first time in 100 years, you know.
Right, well, nearly isn't winning.
Yeah, I know, yeah. What else? We've won gold in... I think we won gold in... All I know is we've won at least 14 gold medals. And we're 5th in the table, right? We're 5th in the table.
Right, if you say so. Right, okay. All right, well, that's pretty good. I mean, fifth is, it's not a podium place, but that's not bad. That's not nothing. All right, good work, Isaac. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Anybody know what that call was about?
No.
Not a clue. Martin texts, you're not a citizen, Nick. French and American people are citizens. You're just a subject of jug ears. Well, that's true, yeah. That's true. I think that's a good idea, by the way. I think that, we should think seriously about that. Because it seems to me that there is, let's say, 14% of the people of every country on Earth who are just dragging the rest of them down. And it's not a class thing. It's not. It's what you earn for a living is irrelevant, even if you earn nothing for a living. People do contribute in different ways. I mean, they might contribute by just being nice people, for crying out loud, being good neighbours. You can contribute that way. But there's some people who just aren't. There's some people that you think, oh God, I hope if I move into my new place, I haven't got a nightmare neighbour. And it's very, very difficult to tell whether you do or not before you bought the place, right? Because you can't live there. You can't just set up in the garden and wait to see if your neighbours scream at each other at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then you move in and you find they do, and you think, oh God, I made a huge mistake. It's going to cost me a fortune, but I'm going to try and move again. And there's loads of those people. They're everywhere. And they're dragging the rest of us down. And like I said, it's got nothing to do with how much you earn. It's got nothing to do with what kind of job you do, because we need all kinds of jobs from, the most celebrated to the most basic. Every country, every society needs that. But just some people are propelling us forward and creating a nice environment, and others are just doing the exact blooming opposite. So maybe if we are full as a country, we can get rid of those people. And they can go and live with the same type of person who has just been ejected from France and Germany and Switzerland and America and every other country on earth. And they can go and live in their own shouty little place, which would free up a lot of space for some good people to come here, or to keep the people that are already here, that have come from elsewhere, that are contributing. Does that sound like an unreasonable suggestion? I think eventually, because it doesn't seem possible that in, say, 500 years, if the human race is still here, if the world is still ticking along, that we're going to be demarcating ourselves by lines on a map. It doesn't seem likely, does it? I think that we will have got beyond that for whatever reason. I mean, climate change might just wipe all the lines on the map out, and we'll all be shoulder to shoulder, standing on our tiptoes, trying to keep our noses above the water on whatever land is left for us to live on. It seems that it's a bit random. I mean, you get to live in a country regardless of you dragging everybody down just because you happen to randomly get born here. I think there should be some sort of test. And it should be continuous as well. Not one exam that you pass. Your entire life is an exam. Hands up who's with me. Chingford. Hello, Tony.
You're absolutely right. I've got fantastic neighbours. Brilliant. I mean, I've been ill the last couple of days and they've taken my guide dog for a walk for me. Right. I don't know what they're doing with that one.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't buy that. And
no.
It's so yes. It's having good neighbours is priceless.
Yeah, I was talking about the citizenship and expanding on it a bit. Do you read much science fiction at all?
No, none at all.
Well, there's a couple of series. Number one's called The Expanse, where they deal with this sort of thing. I mean, and people who can't be bothered, they put them on basic and basically, they call it basic, and they shove them outside, and let them get on there, And then people who can be bothered live in the nice houses in the nice cities and whatever. And There's another series, there's another series called the Culture Series by Ian M. Baggs, where that's a post-scarcity one, where we're really in space and everything is so common that nobody does anything and they get everything done for them by robots. So it's a bit of an argument one way or the other. But the first one, the Expanse one, is right, almost exactly what you've been talking about. It's just, they had also on that, you have to work for 5 years and then you get your university paid for you.
Yes.
Which I think is a good idea.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And if you do 3 years in the services, you get your university paid for you.
Yeah.
And there's loads of science fiction books have this sort of thing in it. I just thought that meshed well with what you were talking about earlier.
Well, it does, yes. You know what, I read a lot, but not books. I read no end of news things, which is... well, actually just news.
Oh.
I spend endless hours scrolling through the internet looking for news, and it's not a pleasurable thing at all. I get no pleasure from it whatsoever. But one of these days I'm going to pick up a book. You see if I don't.
I'm just reading Churchill's biography at the moment. I'm listening to it because I'm blind.
Did he, in that biography, did it mention his urinal?
I don't think it did.
No?
He did mention that he was what they call a democratic conservative, and I was listening to what he was doing in the 20s and 30s, and he sounded remarkably like a Labour candidate to me. I mean, I think this nasty Toryism is a more recent phenomena. I dare say something that happened around the 80s, because they was promoting all sorts of social bits and bobs back in the 1920s, so I don't know. Didn't really understand. Is he a Tory or a Liberal? He was a Tory, wasn't he?
He switched parties, but he did some things that were pretty appalling, while also being the nation's hero. Subsequently he was the nation's hero. But the urinal story came out today, and you haven't heard about Winston Churchill's urinal?
I know, but I'm sure you're going to tell me.
Yeah, I will, yeah. But you're going to have to wait a moment. Thanks for that, Tony. 0345 6060 973 LBC.
This is LBC.
For sunny seaside giggles, punting on the river, strolling down cobbled streets, beachside fish and chips, or breathtaking city sunsets.
Wow.
Hop on board a Southeastern train and see more this summer. No booking fees when you buy train tickets from Southeastern. The price you see is the price you pay.
Southeastern. Next up, which markets might be affected by the election results?
Hi, this is Peter, an investor on eToro. I feel that housing and energy stocks could benefit.
Interesting, Peter. Let's hear another opinion.
Alice here, also on eToro. I think results are so predictable that most market reactions will be priced in.
Sounds lively on eToro. So download the eToro app and join the conversation there.
Not investment advice. The value of your investments may go up or down. Your capital is at risk.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
What in blazes goes on inside that head of yours?
Contemplating Winston Churchill's urinal. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, her attempts to add a feminine touch to her private Treasury bathroom have been scuppered by a bill of several £1,000s to cover up a urinal used by Winston Churchill. A urinal in a private bathroom?
Disgusting.
I mean, I know Churchill was busy and all, but did he really need to go that quick that he didn't have time to lift the seat of a toilet?
Yes.
Yes. And it's patriotic, it's unpatriotic, rather, to think otherwise. Rachel Reeves, Britain's first female Chancellor since the office was set up more than 800 years ago, has been told she cannot remove a 100-year-old urinal from her private bathroom and has been quoted at least £8,000 to seek permission to build a permanent cover over it.
What?
£8,000 to seek permission. To actually cover it up is extra. I think the people she asked just thought of a number, doubled it and added a zero. Is that why it costs £11,000 to change a light bulb on an aircraft carrier? I mean, I don't know whether that's right. I'm just asking questions. I mean, Nigel Farage has not denied that it costs £11,000 to change a light bulb on an aircraft carrier, which I think is very interesting. What's he got to hide? After being elected just over a month ago, Rachel Reeves discovered the urinal in the Chancellor's bathroom that dates back to at least 1922. A Treasury document confirmed that Reeves will not be able to remove the urinal, which has been designed as, or designated rather, as having historical importance and is associated with Winston Churchill. There's Brits with England flag tattoos on their foreheads that would quite like to worship at the font that received Winston Churchill. That urinal is part of the Chancellor's private bathroom, which also includes a toilet, in case two people need to go at the same time. You know, in an emergency.
Warning, warning.
The Rachel Reeves has resorted to putting a temporary cover over the urinal, says The Times, as civil servants find a way to take it out of sight and action. An internal document from civil servants said this will be at least an 18-week process and cost in the region of £8,000 for the application alone. A second option to frost the existing glass panel could also run into thousands of pounds, as it would have to be designed and custom-made due to the shape, the document said. Treasury sources have said the Chancellor may have to resort to taking the cheapest option of finding a potted plant to cover over the urinal.
Want to score some pot?
Not that kind of potted plant. 0345 6060 973. St Ives, Brenda. Brenda. Now, to be fair, Brenda has been on hold for an hour, and I do believe Brenda has fallen asleep. So we'll be very, very quiet. Oh, Brenda. This usually works. No, I believe she's completely gone. We'll give her a moment. Oh, I'm sorry, time's up. She'll be furious when she startles awake and realises she's missed her chance. Sorry about that, Brenda. Huddersfield. Hello, David.
Winston Churchill was clearly a stand-up guy, wasn't he?
Wasn't he just?
Now then, you ruined your voice.
Yeah.
And I've found out why and how.
Go on.
Egg and jam sandwiches.
Nobody
eats egg and jam sandwiches. They're obviously toxic. Except you.
Fried egg and jam sandwiches.
1993, I found a recording of you going on about it. Going on like you do.
On and on and on, yeah.
Whinging, whining and moaning about everything.
I want one of those right now.
I've had a traumatic experience ringing your show.
Oh, yes.
Turns out your glamorous assistant... Wait a minute.
Who?
the fellow that answers the phone,
yes,
who used to be your glamorous assistant before I couldn't say it.
Right.
Says I've got an accent.
An accent?
He said so.
Undetectable to me, David.
That's what I thought. But I thought if I do go in a pub and I do use my accent, I might get punched in the face, because you never know, do you? There's some very aggressive people out there.
What? And they dislike people from Northern Ireland?
Fair observation. You're sharp. What I really rang up about, other than getting distracted by Winston's, doings, is there seems to be a massive difference in people's attitudes to being well-mannered. Like that fella that rang up and more or less threatened you with an implied threat that you could go anywhere.
There was no more or less about it.
I wonder if I ought to continue. I might use the voice that I sometimes use for my newscaster on my web series, but I don't think I will. So, it's very strange how people don't seem to see good manners now as a strength. They see it as a weakness.
A weakness,
Yeah. They think they're caving into everybody. You're on about escalators. I mean, if somebody needed the dog carrying up an escalator or down, I'd do it. As a gesture, if there were a little old lady with a big dog, you carry it, won't for them, wouldn't you? It's like you'd do them a small favour, wouldn't you?
Right, are you telling me that you carried her dog, but you'd leave the old lady to negotiate the escalator on her own?
I'm a Yorkshireman, I've got two hands.
Okay.
So, I think it's a sad sign of the times that people have become aggressive to each other. You're talking about battle lines and what have you. Lancashire and Yorkshire, we talk about them as being over top, because other side at Pennines. Can you detect my accent?
No, absolutely. No. It's like the Queen's English coming through to me.
We've got a king now. But anyway, never mind.
It's hard to get used to, yeah.
It's all that jam. So anyway, so people are looking for reasons to fall out over trivia. Like you said, easily divided and conquered. And the elite, Metropolitan and others, use this to safeguard their position, to keep us all squabbling amongst ourselves.
Exactly.
So I threatened your glamorous assistant, and I said, listen, it turns out I had to do, because it was a matter of honour. So he's from Leeds, apparently.
Oh, no. Leeds?
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, I'm from Huddersfield, which is hardly any distance apart, but they say tour, and we say tour.
Right, that sounds like war to me.
Well, exactly. If that's not a reason to start throwing bricks about, I don't know what is.
Exactly.
So these people don't know they've got out to complain about.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I couldn't have said it like that myself, and I couldn't have said it better myself.
You couldn't have understood it even if you did say it like that.
No, exactly right. Okay, good work, David. Thanks a lot, mate. A listener with material.
Oh,
no. Jamie says, what are your thoughts on watching bands in seated theatres rather than standing? I just can't get along with it, says Jamie. It depends. I know exactly what you mean. I mean, it were grand when I were a lad. I had to be up the front, standing, always. My designated seat, because I went to see bands mostly in the 70s, and the designated seating area, if you had a seat, that was not where you spent the gig. Everybody just rushed to the front and got crushed because health and safety hadn't been invented then, and the bouncers didn't really care as long as you didn't launch yourself on stage. They weren't that bothered. And you didn't feel as though you were part of the gig unless you were up the front. So, yes, in that case, absolutely. But if you're looking at, if you're watching James Taylor, for instance, then I think the seated position would be better. I mean, if you've gone to see, like a jazz concert, then the seated position is the best place to be. I mean, if you go see Pat Metheny, then you don't want to be standing up the front. So the answer to your question, Jamie, is it depends. James, on the other hand, says, was Boris Johnson's moisture level the clincher with... I don't really know what that means, but I'm quite certain I don't want to say it. How about you?
I think the term clincher is not defined, so you can get away with it.
Do you think? Well, what about the part about moisture?
Well, you've already said it now, so...
Well, I have, yeah, but I haven't finished that sentence. I'm going to pass on that. I think I'm doing you a favour, Bodge. What do you reckon?
I can't comment on that.
Yeah. Exactly. Steve says, I'm British-born and I play ice hockey. Does that make me Canadian, or do I have to remain British? Well, it depends how many teeth you've got left, Steve. If you have no teeth at all, then you are automatically Canadian. Ice hockey. Why would you want to do that? That has to be the worst sport I've ever seen on television. It's a bunch of... they barely look like human beings underneath all that padding. And you can't see the puck. It just goes too fast. Silliest sport ever. And Omar says flag football is a non-contact version of American football. Oh, well, that sounds very interesting.
Boring.
You lost me at American football. Good grief. I can't take a call now because there's not quite enough time in which to do it. It would be unfair. So I'll take more calls after the news, get through some of these texts and emails, of which there are a boatload. Kathleen says, why didn't Banksy stencil pelicans on our smashing Ranjit's fish and chip shop? Doesn't he listen to LBC? Banksy. I just don't get Banksy. Other than... much of modern art is not about art, it's about PR. So in that case, in that respect, I get it. Because it's not really art, is it? I mean, by what measure is it art? They're stenciled, apart from anything else, and they're just jokes. They're one-cell cartoons. You look at it, you get the joke in about a second, you're not going to get any more from it the longer you look at it, and then you move on. Whereas... actual art can reveal itself the more you look at it. It might speak to you in a certain way. It might impart meaning that even the artists themselves didn't think that they were putting in their art. But Banksy is exactly like the cartoon on the front page of the Daily Telegraph. In fact, it's usually not as good. Because that guy who does the cartoon on the front page of the Daily Telegraph is proper brilliant. That and the crossword are the only two things that I like on the Telegraph, the front page and the back page. It's what's inside what concerns me. But Banksy, I've never seen anything about Banksy that convinces me that there's any talent there other than a talent for PR. Howard says, at about 23:07 on this show, I heard a caller saying a 360-degree turn. That would mean no change if you think about it. What she should have said was a 180-degree turn. Yes, I am a maths nerd, says Howard.
Oh, no.
A maths nerd. That's the worst type of nerd. It's all about numbers.
And 1,
2,
2,
3,
6 million.
No, close. No cigar. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. 12:30, the news headlines with Tim Daly.
The Justice Secretary is warning this summer's disorder in towns and cities will delay the government's efforts to enhance the justice system. Shabana Mahmood says the effects will be felt for months and years to come. Children are being taught how to spot fake news and extremist content online under planned changes to the school curriculum. The Education Secretary says there will be a review of what's taught in primary and secondary schools. And the latest piece of Banksy artwork to appear in London has been removed by contractors. Some onlookers booed them as two pieces of a billboard, which the artist had sprayed a stretching cat onto, were taken away in Cricklewood. LBC weather, cloud lingering in the southwest, which could provide some fog patches. Otherwise dry and clear across the country. Overnight lows, though, ranging from 19 in the south to a low in the north of 9 degrees.
This is LBC.
George is giving the Admiral a lift in his new electric car.
You look happy, George.
I am. Very happy. George wasn't sure about going electric. He was worried about running out of power on the motorway. But now he has Admiral car insurance, which can come with out-of-charge EV recovery should the worst.
See what you did there?
And back at full power. Get quality car insurance from Admiral that can also cover your EV. Admiral Insurance, always looking out for you. T's and C's apply. Check admiral.com for details.
Next up, which markets might be affected by the election results?
Hi, this is Peter, an investor on eToro. I feel that housing and energy stocks could benefit.
Interesting, Peter. Let's hear another opinion.
Alice here, also on eToro. I think results are so predictable that most market reactions will be priced in.
Sounds lively on eToro. So download the eToro app and join the conversation there.
Not investment advice. The value of your investments may go up or down. Your capital is at risk.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hello, number please. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yes, sorry to keep you waiting. Jonathan in Manchester.
Yeah, good evening, Nick.
Yes, Jonathan.
Yeah, so on your LBC database, you will see
wait. Aren't you Jonathan from Harrow?
No, on Thursday I was Jonathan in Liverpool. I had to leave Harrow.
What, under a cloud?
No, because I took 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'm currently in Travel Lodge in Manchester, and when I called up one of your fellow presenters, I won't say which one, I was in Liverpool, and then his receptionist put me, took all my details, put me on hold, and then cut me off halfway through. So I'm literally now in a travel lodge in Manchester, where in the sort of what do you call it? The entrance hallway. There are lots of pride flags, and I'm here with all of my bin bags and plastic bags, and I'm still not officially saying that I'm without house and home. However, in a few days I will travel to another hotel. So this year is.
Whoa. Well, I was keen to find out what was going to happen, but I do believe that we have been cut off, Jonathan, and it was nothing to do with us. I promise you. Well, maybe try and get him back, and we'll see what happens. No guarantees. Kathleen says, why didn't Banksy's... No, I've got that one. Banksy. I mean, he's got to be one of the luckiest people in the whole of the world of art at the moment. I mean, selling that stuff for so much money, and I just don't get it. I think it's people who have been duped into... they've just been seduced by the public relations. Howard says... No, I've read that one. Keith says, why do you hate foxes and squirrels who have more right to be here than us? What? Where did that come from? There's too many foxes, urban foxes, there's just too many of them. They're taking over. They're becoming too bold. They used to just come out at night. Now they're sitting in the middle of the road in the daytime and looking at us thinking, what are you doing here? The foxes are thinking that of us. And as for squirrels, well, I like the red ones, but the grey ones have beaten them up and pushed them out. So the red ones would be nice if we could get those back. And the grey ones, they're just furry rats with twitchy tails. Oh, here he is, back again. Manchester. Hello, Jonathan.
Yeah, which part did you hear me until?
I can't remember.
So So I said, in the travel lodge, there were pride flags in the
Pride
lobby.
flags in the lobby, yeah, and you had bags around you, and you were contemplating going to another hotel in a little while, yes.
Because I sold up my place in the Harrow, and I thought things can only get better.
Yes.
But evidently not.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm balding and obese. So
balding and obese.
I've got such a big bottom that I couldn't even do like a cycle Uber delivery because, I'm very fat.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to say, without wanting to bring the mood down, I'm standing near the bathroom now.
Maybe you could do an Uber delivery on a bicycle made for two.
Like a car.
Car, yes. Yep. Yeah, like a car, yeah.
Because I was used to luxury living when I was in the Harrow, and I would call you at a leisurely place. But now I'm going from one place to the other. Mm-hmm. And of course, like an idiot, I didn't tell all of this to the boy I spoke with. But I just gave the brief details of my call to your secretary today.
Yes.
Yeah. But overall, I've come to the north of England at an excellent time, haven't I, when all of this is kicking off. I'm kicking myself. It's terribly planned. And I would like to firstly say I apologise for voting for the Farage because he was never a friend of people like me.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. So I would like to say that. Secondly, I have started to see James O'Brien in a whole new light.
Oh,
and
really?
Thirdly, I promise I will never say the phrase walkie-talkie again because the walkie-talkies have saved us.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
No walkie-talkie.
I will never say that again.
And when you say you wait a minute, back up. Tell me about James O'Brien. You're seeing him in a new light.
He is like the savior of the Britain because he has been standing up for all of the marginalised over this week. I've been listening to his show on my mobile when I've been staying from one bit of temporary accommodation to another. And if he's listening, even though he put me in idiot corner, I have new respect for him.
Okay.
Put me in idiot corner twice, actually, and blocked me.
Really?
Yeah. But can I make a quick couple of last points about just the country in a general way? Because I think the country is in a very tricky position at the moment.
Sticky?
Yes, sticky and tricky, actually, because, like I said, Nigel Farage, I voted for him, and, he's been on Twitter. He is not a nice man.
You don't say?
I think. You said you were in the room with him when he was your colleague, and he was wearing the Union Jack.
Union Jack socks, yeah.
Yeah. But I was seduced and by his charisma.
Okay.
And now Elon Musk is also causing a lot of trouble because I don't know what possessed me to come up to this part of the country because I have to find a stable place to stay in for long term.
Like Jesus' mother, yeah.
No, because the thing is, if I would have voted for, I wanted to say something about Kamala also, but if I would have voted for Corbyn, when you were saying 4 or 5 years ago, you said he would have helped people. If it were for Corbyn, I would not be in a pride flag hotel, not in an offensive way.
Yes.
He would have made things nice, but all of the media, apart from you and maybe 2 or 3 other people, they all just completely denigrated and libeled him as being a magical Stalinist wizard who would make us all sing communist anthems.
That does ring a bell, yeah.
Yeah, so I fell for that also. So, I can't afford a home. I can't, start a family because of the militant feminism and the walkie...
Now, wait. Uh-oh.
Now, for example, I was in one piece of temporary accommodation in Liverpool when all of this was kicking off. And I could hear the people in the opposite apartment there was sort of this young progressive couples, and they were having very loud interpersonal relationships. And
really?
That should be banned.
With each other? Can you believe that?
In my opinion, they should ban that because if children were around, they could hear that, and it leads to moral degradation, isn't it?
You get no argument from me on that.
But I'm not jealous of them.
No.
It's not out of jealousy.
Of course not. Why would you be?
No, but the one last point I want to make is on the Kamala. I know that you and all of your woke lefties are loving the Kamala Harris. Kamala, again, in Hindi means the orange.
Orange, okay.
Yep. Kamala is pronounced like this. But you think she's going to do great things like the Steinmeier? Because the Steinmeier, I know that I'm being a bit more serious today because this country last few weeks has actually been quite frightening, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But the Steinmeier, when he was stood there saying to the writers who all look like a Roy Chubby Brown tribute act. Yeah. And now listen, and Steinmeier stood there saying, "Oh, we're going to put you in there." It's like he was sort of trying to be a tough guy, but it did not really, I don't know, it reminded me of Saddam with a full face of makeup.
Really? Okay.
Do you think he's tough?
I think he's tough enough.
You think so? But
yeah.
It's just, can you imagine what you and your fellow presenters, if this had happened under our former benevolent British Indian dwarf Rishi Sunak.
Yeah, that guy, yeah.
If this had happened under him, you and James O'Brien would be calling for his resignation. You would be saying, look at Rishi, he's, what did you call him, Fishy Rishi and his billions. But under Kia, I'm not having a go at you, by the way.
No.
I'm just under stress levels because for Monday I have to pack. I spent £400 on a suit before all of this transpired because I thought this year was going to be the year of my, rebirth, and instead it is like this, and you just have to think me and my German husband, not me. This is like a hypothetical EU couple. They're saying we are going to leave the country. That's what everyone's saying. A lot of the, do you understand the point I'm trying to make?
Absolutely not.
But I don't know. I just think Britain is now on a downward trajectory, but I have nowhere to go. And if you could tell your secretary, if any of your listeners want to give me money, please, they can just leave details, because I would love a big house, a garden. I sold my BMW and got rid of the cleaners, and now I'm not lying. Look, you can hear this. Look. I've got my plates in a black bag. I could have been barrister or something,
Yeah, you could have been somebody. Yeah,
I could have, but our last point, I had a friend of mine 6 months ago. He was in court for nothing dodgy, and they say that jury trials, they say, it's the first time I ever saw a jury, and they say 12 men and women of your fellow peers, and honestly, they all look brain dead.
Yeah, well, that sounds like members of the general public.
I don't want my fate to be decided by the members of the general public. They look like, the 12 of them, they look like the picked sort of 12 of the recent rioters out. I wouldn't trust them to do nothing.
No, I wouldn't trust them to walk my dog. Exactly.
Not to be controversial.
No,
I
don't want to be...
understand what I'm trying to say.
No, I have no idea, no.
Yeah,
but there's no change there. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, Jonathan. Keep us updated. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Coming up at 1 on LBC, Clive Bull.
The number of teenagers applying to study medicine has dropped dramatically, prompting fears of an increasing skills shortage for the NHS. Would you recommend working in healthcare?
Clive Bull on LBC.
Most homes would save with Octopus. Matt switched and started saving in April last year.
You just get it right, the customer service, the sort of communication. You've stepped it up, I think, for an energy company, so well done.
Octopus Energy. Outstanding value with award-winning customer service. Visit octopus.energy/value for our calculation.
Toner and ink.
Get yours in a blink and for less than you think at cartridgepeople.com for unbeatable prices.
Cartridge People.
Printing sorted.
See online for our price promise.
Imagine if you had the cycle data to beat the ultimate competition. No need to imagine. The new Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra uses Galaxy AI to automatically compare today's race to previous ones, giving you key data and insights to keep improving. 20 seconds faster. Eat my dust, me.
Galaxy AI is here. Buy the new Galaxy Watch Ultra today.
Requires smartphone operating on Android 11 or above and the latest version of the Samsung Health app. Route must match the pre-generated path. Samsung account required.
What to give your brother-in-law for his birthday? He likes swimming, but is it weird to buy your sister's husband a pair of trunks? Yes, it definitely is. What about a scratch card from the National Lottery? They help fund athletes from Team GB and Paralympics GB. That way you can make a big splash without diving into any family drama. The National Lottery. Best gift ever. Subject to availability. Please gift responsibly and remember, you need to be 18 or over to buy, gift and play. Even though it's a gift, rules and procedures apply.
Most homes would save with Octopus Energy. Outstanding value with award-winning customer service. Visit octopus.energy/value for our calculation.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
We are running late. Let's get on with it. The Wirral. Hello, Nora.
Hi, Nick. Do you think Jonathan's got Camelot mixed up with Kumquat? That's an orange.
Yeah, I guess it is, yeah. But just don't say kumquat again.
Okay, it does sound a bit rude, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
It's a proper word.
If you say so.
Yeah, anyway. Can you just lay off Banksy for me, please?
Why is
I
that?
love Banksy. It's one of the few artists I get.
Yeah, but that's it, though. That's it, though. You get them. I mean, it's just a joke. It's a really obvious, easily read joke, and beyond that, there isn't anything to see. I mean, if you sat there and looked at it for 10 minutes, you wouldn't get anything more from it than you got within a second.
Maybe you don't. I do. It speaks to me, and I do feel it on a different level. It does dig deep, so I have to disagree with you there. I hate to do that.
Then.
But
Okay.
you like rock music. I think I can't use a word I want to, but I won't. I do think it's crap.
Okay.
But not as bad as rap.
Rock music is crap. Okay.
There you go. You see, it's my opinion about that. But
that's
you
just-
don't like Banksy.
All right, then. Okay.
Can I tell you my joke?
Go on,
It's not a
then.
joke. It's a comment that was on Twitter. No, it's not a joke. It's not a joke.
All right, then.
It's a comment that was on Twitter. Do you recall you were talking about the protesters who had a few teeth missing?
Oh, boy, did they ever.
And one particular lady, just a big gap with two like fangs either side of it.
Yes.
And somebody put on Twitter under the photograph, she's protesting that an immigrant's taking her job as a hole punch. I thought that was very good.
Yeah.
One of the better comments on Twitter or X.
Not bad. All right, good work. Thanks, Nora. 0345 6060 973. St Ives. Hello, Brenda. I do keep them hanging on for way too long. You know, if you can't listen to the whole show, then check it out on podcast. Like I said before, we put the show up as podcasts. We take the news and most of the ads out. It takes less time to listen to. By far the best way to listen to it. And it's called Nick Abbott, The Whole Show Podcast. It's on Global Player. It's exclusive to Global Player. And if you haven't got Global Player, then it's free. Get it from your app store or globalplayer.com. Nick Abbott, The Whole Show Podcast. The Friday and Saturday night shows get put up the internet in that way. Dumfries. Hello, Ian.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
I was going to talk about the Olympics, but I was just talking about something a wee bit different. I think it's totally the way the right-wing protesters are getting branded racist. Now, I know, obviously,
Okay.
but I know.
Okay. All right, Ian. You said you were going to talk about one thing as a ruse to get on air, and now you want to talk about something else. That's a no from me.
No.
That's called false pretenses. Let's have Luton. Hello, John.
Radiohead. Do you know them?
Radiohead, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Which song was banned from Radio 1 1992? I'm trying to think of songs for Donald Trump to sing. I've got one.
Which song was banned?
Banned from Radio 1 till it became a mega hit. Radiohead song became a mega song. Yeah, it's one for Donald Trump. It's called Creep.
Why was that banned?
It was banned because the Radio 1 said it was too depressing for their...
What?
It was banned, but it was then allowed on BBC, but they were on top of the pops then.
Right.
Famous.
No, when you say banned, though, I mean that they have a history of banning music that they subsequently looked embarrassed for doing so. But there's a difference between we're not playing it because it's depressing and they're banned.
Yeah, well, no, not banned, but they didn't play it. And then on top of the pops, they put it on. They changed one of the words, but the lyrics are definitely for Donald. If he went on stage, you might get somewhere. I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here.
Yes.
That he would get somewhere. I'll tell you what, I watched it recently. I just watched Donald. The good news is Kamala Harris is now a favourite for the bookies, which is a really big sign.
Right.
Oh, yes.
It's still depressingly neck and neck, but she's only just started in this race. So I can only see her pulling ahead. I can't envisage any other thing happening.
Yeah, no, I can't. But I just watched I watched him befriending black people. Went out to a burger joint. I'm not joking. This lady served him a burger, and she literally bowed down, trying to kiss his hand. It was like something. And she was praying for him. Yeah. This is like...
It's a cult.
I go to church, but this is like cultish.
Yeah, it's not cultish. It is a cult. Donald Trump's fan base have joined a cult. There's no doubt about it.
It is scary.
It is, scary. Yeah. These are scary people. Yeah.
Well, I just hope... And I don't understand how most of America generally... Well, it seems like half of America seems to be duped. But what do they take? I mean, what sort of things... I mean, how can they be so...
Stupid? Go ahead, say it. Yeah. Gullible, easily led. Yes, it's remarkable. I don't get it.
Anyway, let's just hope. I hope Kamala gets through.
Yeah,
looks like she will.
I think so. Yeah, I think that there's many things that all happened in the last month or so, and all of it has let light in where previously there was only dark.
Yeah. And the irony is the people he said are going to vote for him, the Christians, are only duped cult followers. They're not Christians.
No, they're not Christians. No, they're not Christians at all. They've joined a cult and they're pretend Christians, and there's a lot of that about. Yeah.
And they jump up and down when a Muslim's killed in Europe just because without even honestly. I've talked to some of them and they are totally cultish.
Yeah, it's pointless talking to them, John. You're wasting your time. Exactly. All right. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. Got to go. But on that subject, former president and current world's biggest whiner, Donald Trump's not having a very nice time. It's totally unfair. I was beating Crooked Joe, and then they switched to Kamala, and I can't think of any insults that a 5-year-old would come up with. It's a disgrace. Frankly, it's a total disgrace.
I'm a whiner, and I keep whining and whining.
So not being able to think of a childish insult to please his maggot fans, he kept up those very successful attacks on Kamala Harris' racial identity. Saying on Thursday in a press conference, he said the burden was on Kamala Harris to explain whether she was black or not. He is so losing. You are going to be a two-time loser, Donny.
Don't be rude.
And the weirdo billionaire backers who think they're spending their money well to get what they want, which seems to be even more money and immunity from the law, those people with all their genius and their resources, turns out they're not that smart. Weird, yes. Smart, not so much. Just like Donito.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
And Donny is so out of his depth and flailing around. He actually said that the half Indian, half Jamaican and 100% American Kamala Harris was being disrespectful to blacks and people of Indian descent by not saying what she was. Which is like Donald Trump being accused of keeping his various business failures a secret because he hasn't admitted them to the loser community.
Oh, shut up!
Trump got asked in his hour-long presser on Thursday how he could have said that the Democratic presidential nominee happened to turn black. A comment he made during that interview. You've probably seen it with the Black Journalists Association event. Why he went into there, I've got no idea. And a reporter noticed that Kamala Harris' father is Jamaican-American and that she went to an historically black college, which is Howard University, wondering why it's accurate to say that she recently decided to be black, which was what Donald Trump said. And her mother's an immigrant to the US from India. Well, you have to ask her that question because she's the one that said it. I didn't say it, Trump said. So you will have to ask her, and I very much appreciate the question, he said. Yeah, somehow I don't think he appreciated the question. And then he thought about it for a second and apologised and said he misspoke, and he takes it all back. No, of course he didn't. He just kept repeating that Kamala Harris just somehow magically turned black. It's like a miracle. Nobody ever saw such a thing. Like she rubbed a lamp, and that was her first wish, to turn black. And her second was to contest the presidency of the United States of America with an oddball woman-molesting crook with a fake tan and enough hairspray to reopen a hole in the ozone layer. And his full-blown weirdo vice president pick with the eyeliner and the serial killer vibes. Maybe the third wish was for huge crowds, because she's getting them wherever she goes. They're bigger crowds than yours, Donny.
Don't be rude.
And Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance. He called Harris a chameleon and defended Trump's earlier comments, which is pretty rich from someone who once called Donald Trump America's Hitler, and how he, J.D. Vance, would never vote for Trump, never liked him, called him an idiot and then noxious and reprehensible. And now he's puckered up and vapour-locked his lips onto the screaming meme's giant orange backside. And he was placed on the Trump ticket by the money behind Trump. Trump didn't choose him. It's the Bizarro Billionaires Club that's funding Ancient Orange that told him that J.D. Vance was their guy, so he had to be Donny's guy. And these billionaire geniuses thought what could go wrong. They're up against Sleepy Joe Biden, they thought, and J.D. Vance was from rural America. But what the geniuses failed to notice was that J.D. Vance has very strong weird vibes. The man is the essence of weird. He's the person you would swap seats on a plane just to avoid sitting next to. You'd go and sit next to a woman with a screaming newborn just to get away from him. He's the weird uncle your mother didn't want to invite for Christmas dinner. And the reason these tech bro billionaires picked J.D. Vance was that he is a tech venture capitalist. So they would have one of their own in the White House because Trump doesn't care as long as he gets paid. All the rules and the regulations that keep us safe from them would be gone. And the 0.0001% would take over the world. But you see, the chink in the billionaire tech bros' armour is that they're weird too. I mean, it's the tough guy woman haters club, for a start. And they have hundreds of billions of dollars, and it's still not enough. And they've got deeply strange views about sex. It should only be for procreation. Not for themselves, you understand. They can do what they want. But for us, no pornography, no abortion, no HRT, no recreational sex. I mean, it's like Taliban stuff. So they're deeply troubled, odd people who shouldn't be anywhere near the levers of power, but they are. And their weakness, though, is obvious in their pick of the oddball J.D. Vance. These billionaire Trump backers are too weird to notice that J.D. Vance is weird. I mean, we can. The public can spot it straight off. He exudes weird like a slug secretes lime. But a weirdo wouldn't notice. And that's why they picked him. And that's one more reason why Trump's gonna lose. Because when it comes down to it, as we've seen in this country over the past couple of weeks, the light is stronger than the dark. People of America, join us. Come into the light. If you missed any of tonight's show, you can listen back on Catch Up on Global Player. Nick Abbot, the whole show podcast. That's what you want to ask for. Global Play is free. Get it from your app store or globalplay.com. I'll be back. 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 Globalplay.com.